Sunny and 36 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Jess Adamson.
Keep your body in shape with Physio Extra clinical Pilates and group exercise classes. PhysioExtra.com.
Fire crews are on red alert as the mercury continues to rise. Our March heat wave is staying in the high 30s today, but will hit 40 tomorrow. Brenton Hasty from the CFS says this week's fire at Narracourt shows just how flammable fuel loads are.
We had a scrub and grass fire burn 20 hectares in relatively benign conditions, which shows that the underlying dryness in the environment at the moment is risking extreme fire behaviour.
Fire Corps investigators are heading to Glossop in the state's Riverland this morning after a huge blaze at a tool manufacturing business. It broke out in a paint shop at the property just before 1 this morning. 50 firefighters worked to contain the blaze and managed to stop it from spreading. No one was at the property at the time. The damage bill is around $350,000. Australians are again facing the risk of being hit with bigger power bills. As Gabrielle Hodson explains, a new formula will calculate default electricity prices.
Sunny days are creating some stormy weather for energy companies, with rooftop solar electricity in some parts of the nation outstripping demand, plunging the price into negative territory. News Corp says the problem is especially bad in South Australia. Retailers have now been told the country's market regulator will change the formula used to work out default power prices as they battle with what's been reported as record low profit margins. But the new formula may not necessarily lead to lower utility bills, with the risk it could actually worsen the cost of living crisis.
A Cooper PD driver has booked a date with the courts after blowing more than 7 times over the legal blood alcohol limit. The 41-year-old woman crashed her car into the town's post office yesterday afternoon, damaging a door, post office boxes and a brick wall. She allegedly blew .379. She's been charged with drink driving and aggravated driving without due care. A formal investigation has been launched after a soldier died during a military training drill in Sydney's northwest. Jack Fitzgibbon, the son of former Defence Minister Joel Fitzgibbon, was killed in a parachuting accident during training at the Richmond Air Base. Brigadier James Kidd says the ADF has paused all parachuting activities until further notice.
Defence has initiated a formal investigation into this incident as we seek to learn how we can strengthen our processes. But we acknowledge that military training is inherently risky.
Jack's father has released a statement expressing the family's heartbreak. It's International Women's Day. The themes for 2024 include inspiring inclusion and investing in women. The Adelaide International Women's Day breakfast is the largest event celebrating the day in Australia. It's being held this morning at the Convention Centre. Well, we're spoiled for choice this long weekend with Mad March in full effect. WOMAD, the Fringe, Festival and Adelaide Cup are all happening. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says the World Music Festival also brings a large number of interstate visitors to town.
Kicking off at 4 p.m, running Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. There's always something new to see at WOMAD. It's a massive draw card. It's going to be a great weekend.
Now to FIVEAA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $2,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Triton.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jess. Let's start with footy. Melbourne has lost its opening round match to Sydney by 22 points after a turbulent off-season. Clayton Oliver had 30 disposals in his return to the senior side amid well-documented personal issues. Coach Simon Goodwin says he was generally pleased with Oliver's performance through the midfield.
Oh, look, it was a typical Clayton game. You know, he was pretty tough around the clinches and the contest. He's still got some work to do. He probably fumbled the ball a little bit at times, but you know, he'll just evolve and get better the next few weeks. But it's just great to see him happy, healthy and back in the program, and we'll get him back to his best pretty quick.
Swans recruit Brodie Grundy comfortably won the ruck battle against former Demons teammate Max Gawn. Grundy narrowly lost the hit-out count but amassed more disposals, clearances and marks. And the season continues tonight with Brisbane hosting Carlton at the Gabba. Let's go to cricket. The second test between Australia and New Zealand will get underway a little later this morning, with the Aussies looking to finish off the tour unbeaten. Meantime, India is right on top after day one of its test match against England. The home side dismissing the tourists for only 218 and they're 1 for 135 at stumps in reply. One game in the NRL overnight with the Canberra Raiders easily taking care of the Newcastle Knights 28 points to 12. Liverpool is on the verge of a big win in its round of 16 Europa League clash against Sparta Prague, currently leading 4-1 with only a few minutes to play. And Aussie Daria Saville has had a first-up loss at the Indian Wells Open, going down in 3 sets to American Bernarda Pera. Fellow Aussie Alexander Vukic has just hit the court in his first-round match. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Sunny and 36 today, a scorcher tomorrow up to 40 degrees, 38 degrees for Sunday. Right now it's 22 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Duttons have been easy to do business with for 75 years. That's why people love to buy from Duttons. With 10 vehicle brands across 3 locations in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge, you can compare everything from Ford, GWM, Haval, Hyundai, Isuzu Ute, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Ram, Subaru and Volkswagen. Set your GPS for Duttons Mount Barker or Murray Bridge to test drive a great range of new and used vehicles.
Duttons.
Easy to do business with.
Austrac campers have ingenious storage everywhere. Inside, outside, from the front to the back. There's room to put everything you'll ever need. If only I knew where we've kept the spare toilet rolls.
Austrac campers. The sun takes a toll on everything, but cover things up, they last longer. Same goes for you. 2 in 3 Aussies will be diagnosed with skin cancer, which kills twice as many men as it does women. So check the UV every day, then slip on a shirt, slop on some sunscreen, slap on a hat, seek some shade and slide on your sunnies. Download the Sun Smart app today and stay Sun Smart. A message from Cancer Council SA and the Government of South Australia.
Attention South Australia's green thumbs. Vasili's pop-up garden shop is blooming in Theberton from March 18th to the 24th. It's your chance to pick up all your favourite essential gardening treasures, from our renowned black grit, superfood to Vasili's most popular planting mix. Shop online now. Select click and collect for Theberton and meet Vasili. Mark your calendars. Theberton, March 18 to 24. Visit us at vasilisgarden.com and enter to win a deluxe fruit and grape press worth $600. Vasilis, the key to regenerative gardening.
Wella. Everybody's gonna buy Hoyt spices. Everyone's gonna save $1 or $2. Everybody's gonna buy Hoyt spices, yeah.
Look for Hoyt's most popular household herbs and spices at your supermarket. Whole black pepper, 4-colour peppercorn mix, oregano, mixed herbs, vanilla sugar, sesame seeds, poppy seeds. Refill your empty spice jars with value to spice up your kitchen. You'll be happy with Hoyt's at Coles, Woolworths and all good independent supermarkets.
Hoyt's spices, yeah.
In Adelaide and across South Australia.
This is 5AA.
Always Adelaide.
Friday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 8th of March, International Women's Day. We're going to be chatting with some inspiring women who have done incredible things in their field throughout the morning. Janine Allis will join us, who of course launched the Boost Juice empire. That's so much more than that now. She's a remarkable story. Looking forward to chatting with her after 7:30 today about how she got to where she was. She described herself in her book as the sort of accidental entrepreneur. It was never part of the plan, but the way that she got there makes it sound, it all seems a little less surprising when she tells how it all unfolded. Very shortly, Penny Wong will join us from the big breakfast that's taking place here in Adelaide. It's the biggest in the country, and what a gong to celebrate this week too. The longest serving female cabinet minister in Australian history. Penny Wong will join us ahead of that. Our resident stats man, Ben Jordan's going to be on the show before 7 o'clock. We'll wrap what was a pretty interesting sort of a summer and a heat wave that is breaking some records too with him just before 7 o'clock. Zach De Silva on the program as we wrap the week in federal politics. It's a Friday, so we've got Feedback Friday and, of course, in a moment, Meat Tray Friday. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. Today will be day 41. Day 41, 41 days in a row with no rain and still no rain in sight. When you look at the bomb forecast for the next week, it's all 3, 3, 3, 3 and very high threes.
You know, the best chance, and it's still a real outside chance, but the Thursday that's just popped up.
Next week.
still a top of 31 and a minimum of 21. But the chance of any rain's up to 20%.
What's the record? 58 days, isn't it? I think 58 is the record we're aiming to beat.
I wonder if that means that there's change coming after the Thursday. There's a bit more moisture around.
All will be revealed at 6:45, so
we're going to go close.
Stick around, folks. Yeah, women, looking forward to this chat with Penny. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And I didn't realise she's Australia's longest-serving cabinet minister.
Yeah, it happened just this last week.
Yeah.
She broke the record. It's a pretty impressive record to hold.
Yeah.
South Australian senator.
Yeah, totally. And I think regardless of what your political views are, you have to say, well, that's a record.
I don't think there's anyone who... You might disagree vehemently with everything she stands for politically, but I don't think there's a single soul in Australia that says she's not an incredibly astute, smart and strong woman, person, politician. Forget gender. She's just a super smart person.
I think it's interesting these days, and like, as a dad of a daughter, I really like the fact that my daughter, and you'll find this with Rosie, I reckon, mate. You think about all the struggles of like the 60s and Germaine Greer writing The Female Eunuch, and a lot of women pushing back against sort of orthodoxies that were a lot more crushing and all pervasive then, the eras when, I mean, probably only 20 years ago it was still the case, but things like Rotary, which is a great organisation, great community organisation, but the idea of women being allowed to join was total anathema.
Yeah.
There were so many things like that. I mean, women couldn't even have a beer. They couldn't even go to the front bar for a long time. There were so many things that women were treated like, it was like segregation. It was like Black America. You're not allowed in. And the idea that my daughter now, she just works on the basis that she can do whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah, doesn't even think for a second about it.
And I actually think too that guys now, with a few exceptions, I think guys feel the same way about women these days.
Yeah, certainly young guys.
Yeah, I think the world has actually changed a hell of a lot. Women might balk somewhat at such a cheery assessment of men's preparedness to let them have their way, but I reckon most blokes these days have actually worked out, where is the sort of presumption that they can't do X, Y, and Z, or that they shouldn't be allowed to? But we're going to rev up the meat tray.
Yeah, let's do that.
As well, folks.
The meat tray, thanks to Jimmy and the team at Mr. Meats, 45 Granger Road, West Hindmarsh. Look for the Little Red Shop, Mr. Meats. The family of meats are a great butcher shop. We're asking you very simply this morning, given it's International Women's Day, who your female hero is. Who's your female hero? Could be close, could be far, could be big picture thinking, could be just someone who affected your life.
Someone who's close to you, or someone you've never met. There might be someone from the world of entertainment or sport or music. Yeah. Might be your mum. I reckon everyone...
Yeah, maybe we should rule out mums.
Well...
Because everyone will feel guilty if they don't nominate their mum. That's the power of the mum.
Yeah. I think you can take that as given.
Let's just assume everyone's mum is one.
Well, your mum and your wife.
Yeah.
So leave the wives out of this.
Well, don't introduce the...
So make that major tactical error, especially if they're already up and listening.
8223 0000 is the number of your female hero. Get calling now. You can text us on the Dutton's text line 0480 1395.
How awesome! Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has plenty of Tiguans and Amaroks in stock. Tiguan Allspace is a 7-seater with plenty of room and plenty of smarts, featuring auto park, adaptive cruise control and lane assist. And the latest generation Amarok has a big 1-ton payload and 3.5-ton towing capacity. But inside, you'll get all the comforts of a luxury vehicle. There's plenty of stock that must go. Hurry in for a deal. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
The cost of living keeps rising. Thankfully, so does the sun. That's why more Aussies are getting smart with SolarHeart. Go solar today and get up to $1,000 off a SolarHeart solar power system and battery package. That's right, get up to $1,000 off when you purchase a 5 kilowatt and above SolarHeart solar power system and an eligible GoodWe battery. Lower your energy bills with every sunrise. Get smart. Get SolarHeart. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future. To build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
At Coles, there's great value hands down across fruit and veg this week. Like delicious 100% Aussie blackberries, just $3.50 for a 125-gram punnet. Get great value hands down at Coles. Offer ends Tuesday.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
17 minutes after 6, we're delighted to be joined on International Women's Day by the longest-serving female Cabinet Minister, South Australian Senator and Foreign Minister of Australia, Penny Wong. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning to you both. Great to be with you.
Great to have you on, Penny. Penny, I didn't know until Will said that earlier. I didn't know that you'd reached that amazing milestone. That is, I know you're a modest person, but that's a feather in your cap, I reckon.
Oh, Pembo, to be honest with you, and full credit to Amanda Vanstone, I didn't know until she wrote an article about it to say that, I was going to pass her. And she very, kindly wrote me a note and dropped a gift off, which was very generous of her. So, yeah, it was. So thanks to Amanda, who had an idea, history and milestones, because it would have passed completely unnoticed if she hadn't have done that. So we're just very happy to publicly thank her for that.
Well, that's interesting because thinking back to the earlier stage of your career, Amanda Vanstone was the education minister in the Howard government and was responsible for jacking up HECS massively. And you, and I know this quite well, having cut your teeth in student politics, you always railed against that sort of stuff. It's great. It's great that on a day like today you tell a story like that, because it shows, I guess, that party politics can be transcended by the achievements of people like you and indeed Amanda Vanstone.
Oh, and I think I think there are times for contest over ideas, and there's times where we recognise the contribution of each other. I mean, I had the privilege yesterday actually of being at the ANU with Julie Bishop, who is actually now the third most long-serving woman. So, in terms of time in the cabinet, so we spoke about that as well. So it is I think heartwarming when you can have that kind of engagement with people who you had very pretty tough political contest with, very different ideas about which way the country should go, but you can nevertheless respect service and people's contribution to the nation.
Would you say it's been a quantum leap in terms of how women are treated in politics in this country over the course of that journey that you've had, Penny?
Yeah, I think it has shifted remarkably, actually. And I was just reflecting, I was just looking at a list of the things that this government's done in relation to women's policy, and I remarked to my colleague that it does make a difference when you have this many women in a cabinet. But more broadly, I think if you look at when I first came into Parliament, which was a fair while ago now, 2002, till now, there are many more women on both sides of politics. There are many more women in senior positions, and I think that has changed things. We've still got some way to go, but it is certainly better than it was 20 years ago.
We were saying before, Penny, that in a broader sense, I was thinking about during my youth there was still a lot of really obvious and stupid barriers to female participation, and I gave the example of a great organisation like Rotary, which only about 25 years ago finally started letting women become members. Do you feel, I mean, you, as a parent of two girls, and I was talking about my own daughter Sophie, who's 20, do you feel now that girls are entering a world where they operate with the presumption that they should be allowed to do anything, pretty much, and that the community is making that more possible than it was in the past?
Well, I think there's sort of two parts to that. Do I think that younger girls these days and younger women these days have a sense of their right to aspire to whatever they wish to be and to do, and they are not willing to accept some of the barriers and prejudices that probably my generation and the generation before me did. Yes, I do. I think that young women are that empowered, and it's wonderful to see. I mean, they are fearless, and you've seen that. Does the world enable that? Not as fully as we want, but I think we're well down the path, and I'm very hopeful about the next generation of, feminists and young women who, as they take, positions of authority and leadership in the community and in our society, I think they are fearless, and they are very clear about the importance of everyone being included and everyone being judged on merit.
Senator, you're in the news earlier in the week, as we just said, for breaking the record, longest-serving female cabinet minister, but also, too, because you were on the end of a withering Paul Keating attack following ASEAN. Do you think Paul Keating seems to be of this view that, with you as a foreign minister and the Prime Minister, that we're drifting closer to the US and further away from China, and this is his lifelong mission? Does the former PM have anything of value, do you think, to offer, to add to that debate?
Look, Paul Keating's entitled to his views. Obviously, our job, Prime Minister's and mine and the Cabinet, is to guide this country in circumstances of today, not of the 1990s, and that's what we do. And I think the way in which he constructed, the sort of proposition about, who are you closer to? I mean, we're a US ally, but obviously we're also very clear about the importance of our engagement with our region, and you saw that this week with the ASEAN summit here in Melbourne, here in Australia, and I think was very successful. You've seen that in terms of how we've reached out to the region, the weight we're putting on international engagement, which is all about security and prosperity for Australians.
Well, Penny, you've got a breakfast to go to, and
I do.
It's one that
I've got kids to get in the car to go to.
so we can hear the clank of wheat bix and spoons in the background. We'll get out of your hair, but have a good morning this morning. And this breakfast has been something that since I think it was Rosemary Crowley started it, wasn't it? But
Rosemary Crowley started it, and was generous enough to let me take it over. And Adelaide. Particularly Adelaide Women and Girls have really adopted it. We started with a few hundred women, and now we're going to have over 3,000 people at the convention centre. So, we're pretty pleased with the support and really pleased with the people coming together to celebrate the event.
Good stuff. South Australian Senator Penny Wong, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Let's have a look at the weather for the rest of today and, of course, the long weekend. 20.9 degrees outside in the city at the moment, as cool as it's going to be for a while. 36, the expected top today. The overnight low from tonight, 26. 26 or as cool as it'll be. Overnight low into tomorrow when the max reaches 40 for Saturday, 38 for Sunday with another overnight low of 26. Monday, 38 as well with another overnight low of 26.
I'm just checking. At least you're not wearing a jacket in there, are you? She's wearing a jacket. Although the air conditioning is a bit frosty in here, isn't it? They've cranked it.
Yeah, the Bureau don't have any of their implements in here.
She's got shorts on too.
Yeah.
We've all got shorts on.
That makes perfect sense.
Taken as given.
The UV index today is at 9, which is very high. When the UV is 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection, stay sun smart, and download the Sun Smart app. We'll get Rennie in the studio in just a moment and talk sport. Last night, the AFL season launched earlier than it's been when they're outside of some special circumstances in the year, and
it felt a bit wrong.
It felt early, I reckon.
It felt weird.
I love having footy back, but geez, it felt early in the year. Rennie's in now. If you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, don't miss Warren Treadray on the Drive Show tonight. Thanks to Ignition for Men. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Yeah, it was early. It was a bit of an underwhelming sort of atmosphere, wasn't it? I thought
the game was crap.
Yeah,
there were more goals kicked in Matildas v Uzbekistan at half time than there were at 3/4 time of that last night.
It was, and the conditions seemed to take hold. It was a humid. It felt like a Darwin game, didn't it?
Yeah,
or Alice Springs, where it slips around. But in the end, it was Sydney who took it out by 22 points.
There's your siren. Celebration time in Sydney. The Swans win the first game of the season.
It felt to me, Rennie, like we have had fewer practice games than in the past. We only have the one sanctioned practice game now. It felt like week 2 of the trial games last night.
It did, didn't it? It sort of lacked an intensity that you sort of see normally. And
you get a lot of tourists watching it. I mean, I don't mean tourists in the sort of on holiday sense, but people who... Sydney fans are still... they've got much mongrel in them.
Yeah.
And I reckon a lot of them were there because it was a nice balmy night and they're going to pop up Oxford Street later for some cocktails. Seriously, you get people who just go along. They don't really care that much.
And you boys warned me for Melbourne, same old issues. They can't kick a score. They struggle to move the ball.
They're not making the eight, Tom.
I think after one game I probably have to change my tune. And I tell you what, Max Gawn got destroyed.
He looked really old and tired.
Grundy.
A lot of their big names looked old and tired, apart from Petrarca, who's a freak.
Grundy played like he had a point to prove, and he hasn't played like that for a while.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since Brodie Grundy's looked like that.
Yep, and he's had all summer to think about that. Didn't work at Melbourne. He was forced and banished back to the reserves. But he was arguably best on ground, I thought. He gave them first look, and he was exceptional. So disappointing for Melbourne, but a really good win for the Swans. And, I mean, they're missing half their midfield as well. Yeah. So they're contenders, I think, this season. It's one game, I get that. But the rest of the round, so the AFL, I guess they'll weigh it up at the end of this opening round, but not sure if the experiment has worked or not.
Well, why did they even do it? Was it because of the NRL? They wanted to start
I think so,
early,
but they're back now, aren't they?
They are. The timing was weird. I just think at some point, I get going, oh, well, NRL's out of town. We've got a free hit at the Northern States. Tactically, I understand the thinking. But I think putting on an average game of footy because you've brought it forward and no one's had time to prepare properly for it and you've changed the calendar doesn't do anything to advertise the game. I don't think anyone watched that game last night and went, oh, I'm getting on board Aussie rules football.
Yeah.
I don't know why the AFL is so insecure either, because at the conclusion of tonight's Carlton-Brisbane game, there will have been more people at the first two games of the AFL than will attend the entire first round of the NRL, which has become a television game and a betting game. You know, so I don't know why the AFL jumps at shadows.
Yeah.
And thinks, oh, they're doing this, we better do something, and then they do something really lame and silly.
Yeah. Back page of the paper today. Great story. The Adelaide 36 is hopefully starting to build something. With Scott Ninnis and Isaac Humphries, it's been a long time since they've been contenders. So that was good news that was confirmed yesterday. And we've got the second test starting a little bit later this morning. The Australians are taking on New Zealand. Last test match until, I think, the Australian summer. So it does feel like it does feel like it's been a very long, sort of protracted.
Is it on free to air?
No, it's on.
Bummer.
Yeah, it's on Fox.
Well, that would have been a good long weekend activity.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be warm, isn't it? It's going to be very hot.
Well, it feels like we should be watching a test match, not an Aussie rules game.
Yeah, exactly. And totally agree with your comments. I heard them a little earlier, David, about going through Macca's. I feel like a boomer every time I say, nah, not using the app today. But it's not just me, is it?
I know. Who is using the app?
No one's using the app.
No one's using
the app. We don't use it for... This is the problem with McDonald's and technology, is haven't quite grasped the idea that we use technology to make our lives easier, not your life easier.
Yeah, that's right.
And no one's convinced me that punching the app and having to pull over and do so is better than me just saying to the person there, how about you punch the buttons?
Yeah, I know. You do the work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm paying, almost $10 for a glorified muffin with a bit of minced beef in it.
Yeah, exactly right.
And the coffee that I didn't get because the machine wasn't working at Croydon.
Oh, yeah.
Lift your game. Croydon, McDonald's, crikey. Hey, you got a female hero, Tom, just before you disappear?
Oh, that's a great question.
Is there a teacher? Obviously.
Yeah.
You sort of instinctively go to your mum.
Yeah, I'd have to say, go mum. Had some great teachers at school, but mum was a teacher as well, so...
Yeah, that's right.
Big influence. Yeah, both parents teachers.
Mine
and sisters, I'd say, as well. Both the sisters.
Your sister, she's a cracker. I worked with your sister.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Alison.
Back in the day.
It was funny. I worked with a journo called Rennie in the 90s in Canberra. It was a lovely girl. And then I came here and I met Tom. And his name's Rennie. And I said, I worked with a girl called Rennie once. And he goes, yeah, that's my sister. Everyone in your family's called Rennie.
Yeah.
Must make Christmas Day confusing.
Yeah, it does.
Pass the cranberry sauce, Rennie. Thanks, Rennie. Here's the gravy, Rennie. No worries, Rennie. Oh, this turkey's good, Rennie. I was up all night cooking a Rennie.
Good on you, Rennie. Thank you. Agostino Mitsubishi's Good To Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $1,000 fuel card on the 2023 build Outlander.
The latest local, national and international news for South Australia. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Sunny and 36 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Jess Adamson.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
The RAA is urging us to share the roads safely this long weekend, warning that more fatal crashes have occurred in March than any other month over the past 5 years. Last year, 17 lives were lost in March, the worst month on our roads since 2015. The warning comes as major crash investigators charge a 61-year-old Hillbank man with death by dangerous driving after a 32-year-old Blair Ather woman was killed in a 3-car crash at Golden Grove last week. He'll face court in June. A state funeral will be held today for Dr. Lewitcha O'Donoghue. Mel Usher reports.
Today's service for Dr. Lewitcha O'Donoghue will honour her lifelong work and advocacy to improve the rights, health and well-being of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. Her accolades and achievements are many. In 1977, she became the first Aboriginal woman to be made a member of the Order of Australia. That was followed by Australian of the Year in 1984 and being named an Australian National Living Treasure in 1998. She was also made a Commander of the Order of the British Empire and a Companion of the Order of Australia, along with honorary doctorates from universities around Australia. Dr. O'Donoghue passed away peacefully on February 4 with her immediate family by her side. She was 91. Today's service will be held at St Peter's Cathedral at 1 p.m. Members of the public are welcome to attend. The funeral will also be live streamed.
A cheeky new ad campaign in the battle against breast cancer is encouraging women over the age of 40 to make time for the girls by booking in for a free breast screen that could save their life. Breast Screen SA says the ad is being launched today on International Women's Day. It encourages women to give their cans a scan and make time for your melons. 1 in 7 Australian women are diagnosed with breast cancer before the age of 85. Tiny pieces of plastic, smaller than 5 millimetres, are littering the bloodstream of many heart disease patients. As Gabrielle Hodson reports, it puts people at a 4-fold risk of heart attack, stroke or death.
It's in fish, it washes up in Antarctica, and it's even in your blood. Microplastics have now been linked to heart disease, with an Italian study finding it's in the plaque of more than half of patients having surgery for clogged arteries. SMH The Age reports that of more than 250 people with artery disease, about 60% had microplastics in their system. Of those, about 1 in 5 had died, had a heart attack or stroke within 3 years. The study spurred American public health experts to call for a ban on all single-use plastics as they question potential harm to the brain and other organs.
A US biotech company has announced a breakthrough which could lead to the recreation of the woolly mammoth. The species has been extinct for 4,000 years. A Harvard professor is looking to alter the DNA of an Asian elephant and introduce mammoth characteristics. He believes the goal could be achieved by 2028. Well, Adelaide will be a hive of activity as Mad March peaks this long weekend. WOMAD starts tonight and will run a total of 4 days. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says the World Music Festival pushes up occupancy rates at our hotels and is worth tens of millions of dollars to the state.
We're expecting more than 20,000 people from interstate. Some book a year in advance and they return year upon year.
There's also the ongoing Fringe and Festival, while the Adelaide Cup will be run and won on Monday at Morphettville. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $1,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Outlander.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jess. Let's start with footy. Sydney has picked up the first premiership points of the season. The Swans defeated the Demons by 22 points in slippery conditions at the SCG. Isaac Heaney starred for the Swans, while Clayton Oliver had 30 touches in his return to senior football. Coach John Longmire was pleased with the young midfield for stepping up in the absence of several stars.
It's a big ask against that experienced midfield group and that have been there and done that and continually perform the way they do Melbourne. You know, those young boys were good. You know, the longer the game went, they were good.
Yeah, they certainly were. It'll be a weekend off for both the Crows and Port Adelaide, who don't play their season openers until next weekend. Let's go to cricket, and Australia will be hoping to continue its dominant tour of New Zealand when the second test gets underway in Christchurch this morning. The Aussies have won every match they've played on tour so far over there. To the NBL, Melbourne United has won a thriller in overtime against the Illawarra Hawks, 115 to 106, to take a 1-0 lead in their best-of-3 semi-final series. Meantime, Aussie Josh Giddey has scored 19 points in the Oklahoma City Thunder's NBA win over the Portland Trail Blazers. Let's go to soccer, and Liverpool has taken a big step towards qualification for the quarter-finals of the Europa League. That's after a thumping 5-1 away win in the opening leg of its knockout tie against Sparta Prague.
Now Darwin Núñez, who knows where the goal is, and he's found it again. 3-0 Liverpool. Tonight's game should be won. The tie might have been 2.
Yeah, audio thanks to Stan Sport. 5-1 the end result. Not such good news for fellow EPL side Brighton, as they were thumped 4-0 by Roma. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. And now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
36 and sunny today, mostly sunny, and 40 tomorrow and 38 on Sunday. Right now it's 21 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 7. It is Meat Tray Friday today. You can call in and see Jimmy and the team at Mr. Meat's 45 Granger Road, West Hindmarsh. Look for the Little Red Shop. We're asking you about your female heroes on International Women's Day. I like this one from Sharon on the Duttons text line. Sort of made a very contemporary nomination. Says, good morning, Florence Nightingale, founder of modern nursing, social reformer and statistician, the lady with the lamp. Her famous quote, the very first requirement in a hospital is that do the sick no harm. Can someone tell the government? Stop ambulance ramping and provide the sick with beds. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, well put, Sharon.
She used Meat Tray Friday to make a political statement.
Well, it was a promise I vaguely remember from the election.
Yeah,
last
I
time.
think they're getting round to it.
They mentioned it a couple of times.
Sally in Hillcrest, good morning. Who's your female hero, Sally?
Mine's my daughter.
Oh, nice.
What's her name, Sally?
What's that, sorry?
What's her name, Sally?
Caitlin.
Caitlin, beautiful name.
She was born with birth defects, so she's had multiple surgeries to correct it, and she just doesn't let anything stop her. And she's just resilient, and yeah, she's a true inspiration with everything she's been through, and she still just keeps going and working out what, her goals are and achieving them.
That's excellent.
Fantastic.
How old is she now, Sally?
19.
Oh, wow.
Oh, good on her.
Terrific.
What is she doing with her life at the moment, Sally?
At the moment, she's finishing her year 12, so she struggles with schooling, so she split it over several years, but she's got her goals set. She's actually thinking of, once she finishes school, becoming a play therapist at the Women's and Children's to give back to the kids and with the lived experience of being in and out of hospital.
Yeah.
So that's her goal at this stage. But yeah, she's just focused on finally completing year 12 and...
Well, good on her.
Yeah,
that's a great story,
Yeah,
Sally.
good story.
Good on her. What a great person having a position like that to help other kids through
On
a
you,
difficult
Caitlin.
time. Let's go to O'Sullivan Beach. Morning to you, George.
Morning, fellas.
Who's
How
yours,
are you, George?
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah,
Lassie.
Lassie.
George.
Well, she was pretty good at rescuing people. We'll give her that.
Exactly. And she does what she's told. She doesn't argue most of the time.
George, now when we conceived of the meat tray question, we were hoping for human entries.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah.
Not dogs and
We
horses.
don't want like Mackay Diva.
No.
Let's
George,
come on. Lift our game, folks.
Come on now.
I hope Anna Polius is listening. Because Anna Polius was my year 10 English teacher who we had to read Macbeth, and we watched the film version of Macbeth.
Mm.
And I wrote this essay, I belted it out in record time, and she called me the next day and said, now, David, we need to talk. I'm giving you 4 out of 20.
Wow.
And attached to the essay were 9 pages of notes saying, and I've still got it, and it's like a masterclass in how to write properly.
Really?
And she said, I'm only doing this because I reckon you've got potential. And I've kept it to this day, and it's like the famous George Orwell on the English language essay. Like, it's so well
What year level would have this been?
I was in year 10, so I was like 13, 14. And, yeah, she just put so... And she did with other kids too.
Wow.
She was such a dedicated teacher. And she's still around. My mum sees her from time to time.
She was right.
Very talented gardener.
You ended
as
up
well.
working a little bit with writing.
No, well, it's just anyone like that who takes that level of care. But she was one of those women like talking about my daughter before and what Rosie's going to be like. Who just said, "Yeah, I'm just doing what I want to do."
Yeah,
she was a phenomenal person.
That's a great suggestion. Keep the calls coming in, 8223 0088. You can text us on the Dutton's text line as well. Big 10 Ford, Judum, Haval, Hyundai, Isuzu, Ute, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Ram, Subaru and Volkswagen. Dutton's, easy to do business with. Who is your female hero on this International Women's Day?
Hey, the old nuclear debate's taking a bit of form, isn't it? We now
Bit of
actually
substance.
have a venue, a proposed venue.
We're going to talk about it after
Port
7
Augusta.
o'clock today,
This is
actually.
going to be interesting. I wonder what our Port Augusta listeners think about the old Flinders Power Station becoming, you know, our very own nuclear power
Any
station.
reservations? Anyone think it's a good idea, bad idea? Register your thought, and we'll chat with you about it after 7 o'clock today in our news wrap. 8223 0088. Bit of meat on the old nuclear bone suddenly being applied. Text us as well. Jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, like Francis did, to say a happy International Women's Day to all. And Jeanette, who I like this, Jeanette says, I love my footy, but I went to bed before the last quarter finished. I reckon a lot of people would have felt that about last night.
It just feels too soon, doesn't it?
Well, if it just felt too soon for the footballers.
Certainly for Melbourne.
Yeah. Vic in Croydon Park, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yes, one of the women that sort of made a mark for me was the actress Hedy Lamarr. She invented the frequency switching system for cell phones and invented the patent for a modern torpedo guidance system.
That's right.
Yes.
Wasn't she Czechoslovakian or something, Vic, originally?
I'm not sure about where she was from, but she was a great film star. She was gorgeous, and she had a brain.
Yeah.
She's a remarkable story. Yeah, well, I mean, it was Austria-Hungary when she was born there.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Hungarian, you'd suggest.
Thanks, fellas.
Good one.
Good one, Vic. She's an unbelievable story.
Didn't she hold like about 150 patents to all these different things?
Yeah, it was all sorts of crazy stuff.
Hedy Lamarr, that's right. Austro-Hungarian born American actress and technology inventor. What about, she went through the blokes too. Spouses, Lewis J. Bowles, W. Howard Lee, Teddy Stalford, John Loder, Gene Markey and Fritz Mandel.
But she probably found them boring. They were probably
speaking of
unintelligent bores.
Well, they probably were. She's probably like, sit there, doing the crossword. I'll just go and invent something. There was one of my favourite female jazz vocalists, Dinah Washington, who she was married 9 times and she died of old age in her late 30s. She did a number on herself, Dinah Washington. She was a massive alcoholic. Very, very sad, but just one of the most talented musicians, not just of her era, but of all time. Just a superb voice. Her version of Pennies from Heaven is just one of the all-time great uplifting songs. She wrote a lot of performed a lot of those really saucy blues songs. Famously a song called Long John Blues, about her dentist. Long John was his name. She had a great quote, which I was reminded of talking about Hedy Lamarr and her husbands. Dinah Washington married 9 times and famously once said, if you can't teach an old dog new tricks, get yourself a new dog.
Well, that's what Hedy Lamarr did. The story behind how she devised the system that used how guidance systems on torpedoes worked is a musical story. It's quite remarkable. So the idea was, well, they'll use radio frequencies to guide torpedoes, but the weakness of that is, even in the in that era, you could jam radio frequencies, and if you could jam a radio frequency, you could stuff up a torpedo. Well, she was a friend of George Antheil, a composer and pianist. He was working on some music, synchronizing note hopping, which he used multiple pianos to note hop from piece to piece. And he was talking to her about how he was achieving that. And she went, I wonder if we could do something similar with radio frequencies. And they worked out a way to do it. And that's how they devised torpedoes that could find their target using radio frequencies that couldn't be jammed. By the way a friend of hers who was a piano composer was talking about writing this piece of music. Just a remarkable story.
That's crazy, isn't it? And like the thing that makes it so much more admirable is that era, the analogue age.
Yeah, we're talking about the 1930s.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's just, There's no computers.
No.
Remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah. Great nomination from the caller just a moment ago on 8223 000. I think it was Vic. Let's check traffic thanks to Keezer. You're tired of back pain? Try Keezer, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. A parallel traffic lights on the flash on Port Wakefield Road near Bolivar Road. At O'Halloran Hill, work slowing things up Main South Road near Lander Road. And we're starting to get busy at Pennington for works to Addison Road near Hodgman Road. Building Brighton Road, Brighton with a camera at Conningham Streets at Glenunga. Luxury Mercedes and Maldives bonus prizes. You can win a car and holiday if you get your Hospital Research Foundation home lottery tickets by midnight. homelottery.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
It's so close. You've got until midnight tonight to enter 3 draws to win a Mercedes and a luxury Maldives getaway. Get your Hospital Research Foundation home lottery tickets now. The bonus deadline is midnight tonight. Plus, your tickets stay in the draw for the $3.6 million Scott Salisbury Grand Prize at Henley Beach. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14493.
In tough times, it's the simple things that make a big difference. Like $19 schnitzel days at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. We know the humble schnitty can't fix all our problems, but we do know it'll put a smile on your dial. $19 schnitty, Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. Making the world a better place, one schnitty at a time. Got to start somewhere. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
Austrac Campers' Red Arc battery management system lets you get off the beaten track and off-grid for a week, a month,
Will you stop pretending you're in a radio ad?
or until you get on each other's nerves.
Austrac Campers!
Harvey Norman Furniture and Bedding floor stock clearance on now. Hurry in for big savings on selected floor stock fabric and leather lounges, dining room furniture, office desks and chairs, outdoor furniture, barbecues and more. Massive floor stock clearance on selected mattresses, bedroom furniture, kids furniture, pillows, quilt covers, cushions and more. All priced to clear. Race in for incredible deals on selected floor stock with quick delivery available. Now's the time to buy. Harvey Norman Furniture and Bedding floor stock clearance. Limited time only. Hurry.
Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip, and now there's Barossa Mazda, Murray Street, Nuriupa. SA's newest Mazda dealership is now open. For 40 years, Steinborner has provided South Australians with outstanding customer service, exceptional value, and a large selection of new, used, and demo vehicles. The Steinborner story continues with the opening of their new, state-of-the-art Mazda dealership in Barossa Valley. Barossa Mazda. It's well worth the trip. barossamazda.com.au.
Coming up in just a moment, our resident statsman Ben Jordan live on the air with some observations about summer and the heat wave we're in. Let's get the detail around where we are today and what the weekend's going to look at from those who have all the instruments at their disposal. Jenny Horvat at the Weather Bureau joins us. Jenny, any change to the weekend's forecast, or is it largely as advertised?
Look, it's pretty stable there. We're still looking at that hot weekend coming up, that 40 for Saturday, 38 for Sunday and Monday, and we do have that heat wave issued for severe heat wave conditions for the metropolitan area, including broad areas of southern parts of the state if people are travelling. So not going to see too much reprieve elsewhere around the state. Just getting back to today, we're kind of at our minimum temperature at the moment, 20.1 degrees at the West Terrace Nidapura observation site, and we are aiming for a top temperature here in the city today of 36 degrees, 38 around Elizabeth and around 34, 35 along the coast for today. Mount Barker looking at around 37 degrees. High pressure system in the Tasman, what will be driving this northerly airstream. It's moved over there overnight. Winds are still gradually shifting their way around into that northeasterly today. Could see a little bit of a sea breeze. That's going to take the edge off the temperature on the coast for today. But then as we head into the weekend, we'll be broadly in that northerly airstream as we head into the weekend. So 40 degrees for a Saturday there, but that's that minimum temperature of 26. So that's probably going to be hotter for most of the night, and we'll just
see that spike down again in the early hours of Saturday morning and then jumping pretty quickly back up to 40 degrees. Again, that minimum around 26 on Sunday morning, 38 degrees for the daytime maximum. Similar conditions on the Monday there, 26 for the minimum, 38 for the maximum. A little bit of a weak trough pushing through, maybe taking the edge off by Tuesday, that temperature down to around 34 degrees, but still looks like we're maintaining temperatures in the low 30s as we head into the middle part of the week there, guys.
And Jenny, what's the wind situation going to be like? Is it we're going to have nasty northerlies, or is it all reasonably sort of plain sailing and calm?
Yeah, look, we will see those northerlies picking up a little bit over the weekend. Not some of those roaring northerlies that we do see, but we will probably be expecting to see some elevated fire danger across the state tomorrow. So, yeah, if you are travelling, just keep an eye out for any bans that will be issued this afternoon.
Good stuff.
Thank you, Jenny. Jenny
Stay
Horvath
cool.
at the Weather Bureau, absolutely. Let's head to Safe Pole. Senior Constable Matt Brown joins us. Matt, a very high-range drunk driver caught at Cooper Pedy.
That's right. Well, about 3:15pm yesterday, police were called to the post office on Hutchinson Street after reports that a car had crashed into a building. The crash caused damage to the post office boxes, delivery door and brick wall. The driver underwent a breath test and returned a positive reading of .379, which is more than 7 times over the legal limit. The driver, a 41-year-old local woman, was reported for drink driving and aggravated driving without due care, so she will be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
Far out. That's just off your chops, isn't it? Matt,
Absolutely.
also, a man's been charged in relation... Oh, this is interesting. We were talking about this because the suggestion was there was a hit-run element to this. So a guy's been charged in relation to the fatal crash at Golden Grove last week.
That's right, David. About 12:10pm on Wednesday, the 28th of February, emergency services were called to the intersection of Atlantis Drive and the Grove Way after reports that a Ford Territory had been travelling south and then collided with a Hyundai and a Corolla. Sadly, the driver of the Hyundai sedan, a 32-year-old Blair Athol woman, died at the scene. The driver of the Corolla, a 42-year-old Golden Grove woman, was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the Ford Territory, a 61-year-old Hillbank man, was also taken to hospital. And yesterday, major crash investigators arrested the driver of the Ford Territory. He's been charged with causing death by dangerous driving and causing harm by dangerous driving, and so he's been bailed to appear in the Elizabeth Magistrates Court on the 3rd of June.
Unbelievable. Good police work, though, to make that case. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPO. Well, let's see what happens with that when it gets to the courts.
Yeah.
Because, we talk about hoon driving, rat-baggery on the roads. Let's not prejudge the bloke, but the fact that, the way that whole crash panned out, totally avoidable. And, how often are we driving in on our own in the dark? Or, people knocking off, working late at the end of the day. Or your kids are coming home from, doing a shift working as a dish pig in a restaurant or pulling beers in a bar. Like the idea you can get cleaned up by somebody, it's genuinely bloody terrifying, isn't it?
It should be reflected in the punishment.
And it barely ever is.
Barely ever is. Let's bring into the conversation our resident stats man, Ben Jordan, who contributes massively to the program off his own back as our in-house, in inverted commas, statistician, talking all things weather, sport, footy, crowds, cricket, you name it. Ben's got a stat for it. We thought we'd get him on after we've had a pretty unusual summer and an unusual start to autumn. Ben, good morning to you, mate, and thanks for your time.
Good morning, Will. Penrith, how are you both?
Ben, we're good. Now, I was very taken by your stat earlier this week, mate, about the record period of non-rainfall. What's the outlier? What was it? 58? Is that what you said?
66 days, but I know the Bureau, so it was 1870, and the Bureau sometimes look at, the historical data, they really sort of almost draw a line, prior to 1910, anything before that, sometimes they don't say that the records were as reliable, but per their actual data, it is 1870, 66 days is the official longest record, although 2019, the summer of 1819, we did have 56 days, I think it was, or thereabouts. So that's the most recent one. So, 52 days.
What were your takeaways from the summer we just had, Ben? Because the first half of it felt historically cool, and then we started to get some heat towards the end. How did it all shape up in the grand scheme of things?
Well, yeah, you're right, Will. So December was historically 1.5 degrees below the average, so really cold. And we remember that the absolute freezing Christmas day we had. And then January was just a little bit over the place, but did end up on the average, and then that was sort of offset by February, which ended up 1.5 degrees. So actually, summer as a whole was bang on. The average is 28.
Oh, wow.
And it was 28, but that was, colder, normal, hotter. And now we've got this first start to March, which is going to be 5 degrees above the average for the first 2 weeks, basically. So it's come with a vengeance. But actually, historically, March is always warmer. The first 2 weeks of March is about a degree warmer than the first two weeks of December.
Right. Well, Ben, I was talking the other day, a mate of mine, Frank, used to be a groundskeeper, and he was saying that, because he used to study all the weather patterns really closely like you do, and he said we should actually have the season should just line up with the calendar where summer is January, February, March, based on the same point you just made, that March is significantly warmer than December.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and in the last 25 years, that has changed again. It's actually been hotter like by an extra degree. The first 2 weeks of March has, growing up in the 80s, you always thought December was hot, but it has swung that March is suddenly, actually one of the kids is meant to have sports day today, and that's sort of been cancelled because of the heat. So, perhaps later March as we go. But, we're still at least well short of the record, though, that we had. Remember, back in 2008, we had the first 17 days of March, averaged 37.5.
Oh, right. So this heat wave, we don't know how long this is going to go on for, but by comparison is merely a blip, isn't it?
Correct. Yep. Maybe we can blame the Adelaide Cup movement, because that actually average for the Cup race day since 2006 when it got moved is 28. When you compare that to when it was in May, it was 18. But that 2008 heat wave, Penberry, do you remember the winner?
No, I'm hopeless at remembering horses.
Lacey Underall.
Is that the... Lacey Underall. Now, Lacey Underall was the starlet in Caddyshack.
That's right. Judge Smell's
niece. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I like skinny skiing. Sing bullfights on acid.
I think cricket season officially ended, it feels like, last night with the return of the AFL season, Ben, but I can't let you go without asking you what your favourite cricket stat out of the summer was.
Well, it almost just came the other day. So Travis Head, who had a really great summer, but perhaps hasn't ended it all that well, got the fewest runs in the last 30 years, scored in 3 consecutive innings. He only scored 1, but Mark Waugh actually holds the record. So he got 4 ducks in a row on the Sri Lankan tour of 1992.
I thought Greg Chappell had that record.
I think that was across some one-day games.
Oh, yeah, that's right, in the early 80s.
Ben, this is
Mark
great.
Waugh got the nickname Aldi for a while for the 4 zeros.
Consider asking you questions about random moments in history all morning. But unfortunately, we're out of time. Ben, great to chat with you, mate. Really, really appreciate all the work you put in. We love it.
No, thanks, Dave. Thanks, Phil. Have a great long weekend.
That's our resident stats man, Ben Jordan.
Count the base.
How good. That was fantastic. All right, it's 7:01. 5AA News is coming up. Our wrap of the morning stories next, including a nuclear power station in Port Augusta, South Australia. How would you feel about that? We've got some texts in broadly supportive so far. Will it stay that way? We'll find out after the 7 o'clock news.
How awesome! Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has plenty of Tiguans and Amaroks in stock. Tiguan Allspace is a 7-seater with plenty of room and plenty of smarts, featuring auto park, adaptive cruise control and lane assist. And the latest generation Amarok has a big 1-ton payload and 3.5-ton towing capacity. But inside, you'll get all the comforts of a luxury vehicle. There's plenty of stock that must go. Hurry in for a deal. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Now what are you looking for in there?
Have you seen the tape measure?
No, what do you need it for?
Found it.
Oh, I know. You're measuring it again. Just leave it alone.
I think it's gotten a bit longer, hun, so I might need to cut a bit off.
Okay, but since you got the new mower from Stanford Mowers, you've been really fixated on the length of the lawn.
Size matters, hun, doesn't it?
Not at all.
Stanford Mowers, for very meticulous mowers. 590 Main North Road, Jeps Cross. stanfordmowers.com.au.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Barnacle Bill, serving South Australians quality seafood for over 50 years. And remember, it's Barnacle Bill for seafood and much, much more.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Sunny and 36 degrees today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Jess Adamson.
Keep your body in shape with Physio Extra clinical Pilates and group exercise classes. PhysioExtra.com.
A drink driver has blown more than 7 times over the limit in Coober Pedy. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the 41-year-old woman crashed into the local post office.
The crash caused damage to the post office boxes, delivery door and brick wall. The driver underwent a breath test and returned a positive reading of .379, which is more than 7 times over the legal limit. The driver, a 41-year-old local woman, was reported for drink driving and aggravated driving without due care.
South Australia's merchandise exports have hit a record high of just over $18 billion. Trade and Investment Minister Nick Champion says we're outpacing the nation as the only jurisdiction to experience export growth.
Yeah, it's a terrific result. $18 billion worth of exports over the last 12 months and 8.7% growth in that year. Just a terrific outcome and leading the country.
There's been a major fire overnight at a paint shop belonging to a tool manufacturing business at Glossop in the state's Riverland. 50 firefighters were called to the Mackay Road property at 1 this morning. They managed to contain the blaze, but the damage bill is estimated at $350,000. Fire Corps investigators will head to the scene this morning to try to determine the cause. We're getting a late burst of heat, putting fire and health authorities on high alert. Today, we're expecting a top of 36, but tomorrow is tipped to hit 40. We're being urged to stay hydrated and dress to the conditions to avoid overheating. Darren Halliday from the SES says staying cool is a #1 priority.
This isn't the time, even in the cost of living crisis, to scrimp and save on electricity. Now is the time for you to turn your air conditioner on.
Bunnings Warehouse has returned to its first place ranking as Australia's best online retailer. Last year's winner Kmart has fallen to 3rd place, followed by Big W and Woolworths. Power Retail Head of Data David Fear says the tool mega giant's loyalty program put them on the front foot.
Bunnings have always been a strong contender and have won in previous years, but what we liked about Bunnings last year was that the introduction of Flybuys and OnePass made their loyalty program a lot more accessible to the general public, which has been really well received, helped them secure the top spot.
Sweden has joined the NATO military alliance, ending 2 centuries of being neutral. The Scandinavian country applied nearly 2 years ago after Russia invaded Ukraine. The process was delayed due to holdouts from members Turkey and Hungary. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the membership is a major step.
This is a historic moment for Sweden. It's historic for our alliance. It's historic for the transatlantic relationship. Our NATO alliance, our defensive alliance, is now stronger and larger than it's ever been.
We're heading into a long weekend chock-a-block with events. Mad March will be in full effect as Adelaide hosts WOMAD, the Fringe, Festival and the Cup on Monday. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says there's something for everyone.
This is my absolutely favourite time of the year. Our weather is beautiful, maybe a little hotter this weekend than normal, but a wonderful time for us to get together, embrace the best of what we have in comedy, of theatre, of music, and of course the racing for the Adelaide Cup.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $2,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Triton.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jess. Sydney has beaten Melbourne by 22 points in the opening game of the AFL season at the SCG. The Swans overpowering the D's with 5-2 in the final term. Sydney recruit Brodie Grundy telling Fox Footy it was great to get the win over his former team.
It's exactly where I want to be. I'm really enjoying my time up here in Sydney, and when we put on a show like that, it's it makes it all worthwhile.
And the round continues tonight with Brisbane hosting Carlton at the Gabba. To cricket, Australia is settled heading into the second test against New Zealand, with the Aussies naming an unchanged 11 for the match starting in Christchurch in just over an hour. Meantime, India is well on top of England after day one of its test match. The home side dismissed the tourists for only 218 and they reached 1 for 135 at stumps in reply. Let's go to the NBL. Melbourne United's taken a 1-0 lead in its best-of-3 semi-final series after getting past the Illawarra Hawks 115 to 106 in overtime. Meantime, the Adelaide 36ers have locked in Isaac Humphries for the next 3 years. The Adelaide Cup barrier draw will be held at Adelaide Oval this morning, with connections to keep a close eye on where their horse will be drawn for Monday's Group 2 feature. And it's well into the opening round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational event in Florida, with Hideki Matsuyama and Justin Lower in a share of the lead at 5 under. Minwoo Lee is the best of the Aussies, only 2 shots back in a tie for 6th, while Jason Day is a shot further back at 2 under. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tommy. Now checking 5AA traffic.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery bonus prize deadline is midnight tonight. homelottery.com.au.
Morning there at Parallel. We look out for lights on the blink today. Port Wakefield Road now Boulevard Road. Activity at Dry Creek, the north-south motorway near the Wingfield interchange. Road plates in use this morning at St Mary, South Road near Princess Parade. Got speeds at 40 there. Getting slow, Taplings Road at Glenelg North with cameras Doothie Streets, Unley and Port Road as you're heading into the city. The King Living Anniversary Sale ends soon. Save up to 50% on selected Australian Design Award-winning furniture. Sale ends soon. Visit the King Living Keswick showroom today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Sunny and 36 today. We're heading for a scorching long weekend, up to 40 degrees tomorrow and 38 on Sunday and Monday. Right now, it's 20 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
We've got Shane from Drummond Golf with us. Shane, you've made it so easy to improve your game with a room full of indoor simulators.
Yeah, Tommy, we think all golfers out there will love our Big Swing Golf indoor simulators at Drummond Golf Mile End. We have a room full of simulators to play golf and other sports like soccer, baseball, basketball and even football with your mates, rain, hail or shine.
It's great fun, isn't it, Shane? But more importantly, the simulators you have, they're an incredible tool for improving your game.
Tommy, you're dead right. They're a great training tool thanks to the overhead Ion 3 camera that shows video of your clubhead angle, your clubhead speed and spin rate.
So jump online and take a look at bigswinggolf.com.au, then call your mates and head to Drummond Golf Mile End.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 7, good morning to you. If you're joining us for the very first time on a warm Friday morning that's going to get scorching hot over the long weekend. Coming up this hour on the program, we're going to chat with Janine Allis on International Women's Day. She's the founder of Boost Juice and now a food empire. Really good speaker is Janine. She's good to listen to. I think you're going to enjoy that chat after 7:30 today. Also, Zach De Silva will join us from 9 Radio's Federal Politics Division, and we'll just wrap the last week in federal politics. But before we get to all that, we've got some reports through that traffic is really slow at the top of Port Road as you're coming into the city, and indeed North Terrace, which I imagine's got a bit to do with the fact there's thousands of people turning up to the International Women's Day breakfast that's just started.
Literally.
Sam Daddo is at the scene. Sam, what does it look like?
Morning, guys. Yes, we do know the Foreign Affairs Minister is hosting the International Women's Day breakfast from the Convention Centre. The special guest for that breakfast is Annabelle Crabb, but it is causing some delays on your roads this morning. If you jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll see as I was walking past the Convention Centre, I'm now at the corner of West Terrace and North Terrace out the front of the Royal Adelaide Hospital. Traffic seems to be banked up right here to the corner of where the Royal Adelaide is, and it's just crawling at a snail's pace down North Terrace. So if you're coming into the city this morning, especially down up through Port Road, try and pick an alternate route other than North Terrace because you're going to be waiting a while.
Okay, Sam, thank you for that. We'll keep an eye on it this morning. But if that's the case, the breakfast was scheduled to start at 7. People arrive a little bit late and get a park. You imagine that should be flowing through in the next 20 minutes or so. If it's not, let us know. 8223 0000, text us on the Duttons text line.
Very sad news overnight. We understand that two-time Port Premiership player David Granger has lost his life after a long cancer battle. Obviously one of the most notorious figures, probably the most notorious figure,
I think so. Yep.
in the history of South Australian sport.
His nickname is known by
Grave
everyone, whether you saw him play footy or not.
I can remember, you'd actually be genuinely terrified going to Port games when he was playing, but he was such a gifted player.
Mm.
He started with the Saints. He was a Victorian,
right?
He played 3 VFL games for St Kilda. But, obviously, it'd be great to talk to Timmy G about this at 7:20. Some real moments of infamy, though. The 1982 prelim. I wonder how many of our listeners were at that game.
Call us if you were. 8223 0000 or jump on the Duttons text line.
It was the last game of football he ever played. He was rubbed out for 10 weeks after that match. Peter Maynard had a punctured eardrum. Our former boss, Max Maynard, father of Braden Maynard from Collingwood. Stephen Barrett never played again, had his leg broken. And Cornsey, of course, Graham Corns. Granger got 8 weeks for his hit on Graham Corns. And after that match had to be escorted from the ground. And it triggered what is still an unresolved debate as well about whether Granger was a lone wolf out there throwing haymakers or whether he was taking orders. And Graham has always been of the view that he was. But for David Granger, it's a really sad story the way his life panned out because he felt let down by the club. And after that, he became a total recluse. And a lot of people tried really hard to reach out to him. I know the late Russell Ebert had stayed in touch with him and used to visit him. A lot of really good, caring people at Port tried to take care of David, but obviously he had there was the drug conviction. Then there was the charges over assault against the former Speaker, Mick Atkinson, when he tipped sprayed him with the garden hose outside his house in Woodville. So a lot of people too, I can remember writing a column once about some random SANFL love letter type column I'd done, and I mentioned Granger in it. And about a week later I got this very strange letter that had a photocopied picture of David Granger, and then it had all of these Paisleys drawn around it with 18s in them, which was his number, 18, 18, 18, 18. And then it had feathers, and it had some bedding slips from the Challa Gardens Hotel. And I went to the sports guys, like Rooch and everyone, and said, I got this letter. And it feels like, and Rooch just looked at me and smiled, and he opened his drawer, and he had about 30 of them. So he was...
I've seen them. I've seen people get them here.
Yeah, the guys here would have got them too. So he was someone who battled very serious mental health problems and was, I reckon deep down, he would have been a gentle guy. And someone who was, the way we've talked about him now, that is, life can be cruel, but that is what he's remembered for, is this notorious figure. But there was a complexity to him and a gentleness, I think, that for whatever reason, he went out onto the field, be it off his own bat or in a collaborative way, and he turned into a maniac.
Yeah.
And most people, including Port fans, will probably remember that part of him more than anything else. But, 69, and hopefully his end wasn't too lonely because, mental health is a scourge, and, all his drug and alcohol involvement over the years may well have been an attempt to suppress the demons that were plaguing him. But a sad and complex life, and a huge part of the history of our state.
Massive part of the history. If you've got a memory you'd like to share of David Granger, you can call us on 8223 0000 or text us on the Duttons text line. We'll continue that conversation with Timmy G in about 7 or 8 minutes' time to talk about the legacy of a legend of the Port Adelaide Football Club.
Yeah, 2 premierships as well, which is a feather in his cap.
It certainly is. Continuing on with our news wrap of the morning, something that's garnered a whole lot of interest on the text line. Big Ten Ford, Judum, Haval, Hyundai, Isuzu, Ute, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Ram, Subaru and Volkswagen. Dutton's easy to do business with. The Kaiser this morning quoting senior Liberals who were saying that Port Augusta was the obvious option for a nuclear reactor because of the fact that the Northern Power Station remains there and has connected to the electricity grid, so all the infrastructure is in place. Of course, this comes off the back of the federal opposition starting to provide some detail on their nuclear energy policy. They're saying they're going to announce sites for 5 or 6 nuclear power stations across Australia, in New South Wales, in Victoria, and it sounds like potentially one at Port Augusta. Let's read some of those texts. I think they framed the debate nicely in terms of how willing South Australians are to have a nuclear reactor here at home.
A lot of very pro comments too. Gary in Fairview Park, nuclear at Port Augusta, get on with it. Won't happen though with the stupid government in charge. One here from a Corn local, Adam in Corn. Very happy to have some nuclear power plants in northern SA, Port Augusta or Port Pirie. I'll be in my 80s by the time it's built. One here saying, let's see if nuclear power can get up in South Australia after the SA Voice has its say. That's actually a really important point.
Could be a test case, couldn't it?
Well, you look at what happened with Kimber.
The dump.
That got vetoed by the local land council. So let's see. And, you know, it'll be a test, given the Premier said that the Voice will not be binding. It'll be an advisory body. One here saying simply Port Augusta is the perfect spot for a nuclear. We haven't got any negative text about this. I reckon our listeners are massively. The majority of them are into this.
Well,
idea.
you look at most polling these days. More people are favourable about it than not these days. Almost at any age bracket, it's changed hugely. Probably because people have travelled around the world and seen it elsewhere and seen what people pay for power elsewhere. We got a good one. Oh, it's just disappeared from me. It's just disappeared. But I mean, one of the major advantages of Port Augusta and why it makes big sense is a lot of the other alternative power options require huge infrastructure investment in terms of the power lines, where nuclear just plugs straight into the old network.
I think the message was the one from Jay in Brompton. Having a nuclear plant in Port Augusta seems logical. It has an existing power network close to source, being uranium up the road, where we could also produce nuclear power rods for the world. And then it says, but the Kimber Group, who can the nuclear depository, which would have been good for all of Australia, and money in the bank for local people and state government, will definitely can the idea of a nuclear power plant in Port Augusta. Well, let's just see what happens.
Yeah. All right, let's check traffic and come back with more in just a moment. Keezer, are you tired of back pain? Well, try Keezer, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. She's looking A-OK for the run into work today. Accident and breakdown free. Always nice on a Friday. Simply some works to look out for. You'll find them at Dry Creek today, the north-south motorway near the Wingfield interchange. Road plate to New City bound, South Road at Prince's Parade at St Mary's. Got some works to look out for at Ottaway 2, Granger Junction Road near Rose Street, and Cameras Cross Road at Middlewank, and Doothly Street at Unley. Shop a huge 40% off apparel and footwear at Nike Harbour Town today until Sunday only. Visit harbourtown.com.au for more outlet offers. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
The idea cats and dogs will be allowed into the passenger cabin of Virgin planes rather than the cargo hold has to win the dumbest idea of the day award, doesn't it? Dogs and cats barking and hissing at each other as you fly to Perth. That's what you need.
Matthew Pantelis.
The plane will get a bit stinky. Why, Virgin, would you want to subject your passengers to a flying zoo?
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
If you have an electric hot water service at home or instant gas to heat your water, I'm sorry to say, you're losing money every day. With an EcoVantage heat pump hot water system, you could save up to a whopping 50% on your water heating costs. And if you're a concession card holder, make the switch to an EcoVantage heat pump hot water system. The upfront costs are even lower. EcoVantage, the savings are real. Visit ecovantage.com.au.
It's Edward here from Edwardstown Mazda. I can't tell the time yet, but I know it's running out to save on a 2023 Platoon Mazda. If you come in now, you'll get the best deal ever on all 2023 Mazdas. I pinky promise. And remember, Edwardstown Mazda is the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. Numo umero, baby. Now play that jingle thing. It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda.
City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tyres. Grab 3 Falcon Zig ZE 310R passenger car tyres and get the 4th tyre absolutely free. Experience top-notch performance with exceptional grip on both wet and dry surfaces. Steer your way to citydiscounttyres.com.au for even more great deals. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tyres.
Now imagine winning a brand new Mercedes and a trip to the Maldives. Get your tickets for the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery by midnight tonight to go in the bonus prize draws.
3 lucky winners will each drive away in a Mercedes-Benz GLC 300 and fly away for an unforgettable holiday in the Maldives. And your ticket then also stays in the draw for the $3.6 million grand prize at Henley Beach.
So remember, these are the key points. The bonus prize deadline is midnight tonight. Don't miss your chance to drive and fly away in luxury.
By purchasing a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, you can be proud that you are improving life-changing treatments and care for every South Australian. Get your tickets now at homelottery.com.au.
Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip, and now there's Barossa Mazda, Murray Street, Nuriupa. SA's newest Mazda dealership is now open. For 40 years, Steinborner has provided South Australians with outstanding customer service, exceptional value, and a large selection of new, used, and demo vehicles. The Steinborner story continues with the opening of their new state-of-the-art Mazda dealership in Barossa Valley. Barossa Mazda. It's well worth the trip. barossamazda.com.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 after 7, after 7:30 this morning, we'll wrap the week in federal politics with Zach De Silva from 9 Radio. And then Janine Allis is going to join us to tell her story and her thoughts on International Women's Day, women in business, what got her into a position where not only was she the founder of the Boost Juice empire, but then went and took on a whole heap of other really high-end food brands that are all excellent. Their suite of things that she owns in retail. Chibo,
Betty's Burgers,
Boost
Salsas,
Juice,
obviously. Yeah,
Fresh Mex.
Fresh Mex. They're all great products.
Yeah, she's got a good eye for what is going to work.
She's got a good eye for South Australian talent as well. Because like Chibo, one of the things about Chibo is just consistently great.
When the Boost Juice started in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Very first one was here in...
just down the road.
Just down the road from us here. All right, 23 minutes after 7, let's talk sport with Timmy G.
And speaking about report cards with distinctions, here's Ginnivan.
Tim Ginnivan on 5AA Breakfast.
Timmy G!
Don't miss Warren Treadray on the Drive Show tonight, thanks to Ignition for Men. Timmy, footy's back, so we've got a bit to talk about in a footy sense, but also a bit of breaking and sad news on the Port Adelaide front, where we learned this morning of the passing of David Granger.
You guys do that bit then about Dave, and we haven't heard anything officially just yet, but I knew that David was ill, and I knew that he was battling a terminal illness. So, I suppose my memories and association with David, never actually got to play a game with David. He was suspended, as you mentioned, in that 1982 prelim. I made my debut the following year, but I did do a pre-season with him. And the thing about Dave that I found, and I heard you say it, Pembo, was that there was this almost gentle side to Dave, which, is in complete contrast to what people would have seen on the field. And I remember we did a pre-season together at 82 going into 83. Russell had taken over as coach, and we did this pre-season. I remember we were running these 200s, and Dave decided he was going to win one, and me and my mate, we were only young and trying to impress, and I went around on the outside, and my mate went around on the inside, and Dave looked at him and said, "You're not coming past me." Just gave him one. And when we got back to the cab, somebody said, gee whiz, good work, boys, for not reacting to that. I dropped back about 10 metres, let me tell you. And, when we got back to the cab, Dave grabbed me and said, "Did I run into you back there?" And I said, "Not me." I said, "My mate there." And he said, yeah. He said, "Look, sorry about that." He said, "When you get to the pub tonight, I'll buy you a beer." And we walked into the pub that night, because it was about 10:30 in the morning, and I thought he would forget or whatever, and he saw us and said, "Hey, come here." And so we walked over to the bar and he sat down, bought us a schooner each, and he said, "Right, now tell us your story. Where you're from? Where'd you play your footy?" And he was unbelievable. And I was like, wow. And that's that side that you're talking about, Pembo, that not a lot of people probably saw if they didn't have any interaction with Dave. And, and then later on in life, I'd be playing footy and I'd always check into the Woodville tab to put my bets on before the game and, get the syndicate going. And he'd be in there and he'd go, "Hey, Timmy, what do you reckon?" And we'd sit down and have a good yarn about where we're at in the footy season and the like. So, yeah, I had a reasonable relationship with Dave, to tell the truth, and it was really sad to hear that he may have passed overnight. So, terrific football. The thing I think with Grange is that a lot of people only remember the incidents, if you like, because it was the first one ever to be rubbed out by video evidence.
That was for the 81 incident with Twiggy Caldwell that ended Caldwell's career.
Yeah, so he was the only one to be done there. They remember the 82 prelim, which was obviously full of fireworks. But what probably a lot of people don't remember, but I know Port people do, was, he could play the game.
Yeah.
He was an amazing footballer. His hands were incredible. He played above his height. He was only 6'2", but he always played key position. And his handball, I would say, is up there with Russell Eberts and Greg Phillips as far as being able to penetrate and hit blokes on the run. He was just an amazing and unselfish footballer. That's what I loved about him. He was always prepared to give off to teammates. So, it was definitely a career that was probably shaded by a lot of more dark incidents than good. But for me, I always remember him fondly.
Yeah, no, well said, Tim. Well said.
Absolutely. How'd you feel about footy being back last night, Timmy? It was exciting in the build-up, and then the game I felt was a bit underwhelming.
Oh, for the first 3 quarters, I was clawing at my eyes.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that.
And the other thing, it was just, when you're sitting there with 30 degrees overnight, I was sitting in like a baby bath, just, slapping water over myself, just trying to keep cool. And I was thinking, it just doesn't feel right. No. It just doesn't feel right. Maybe, next weekend, perhaps when the Crows and Port start and maybe we got different conditions, it might be okay. But yeah, it just seemed a bit weird to me. I felt like, I know the second test is starting in New Zealand today. That was more the weather I was experiencing. So, a bit bizarre for me. I wasn't sure about it. And in the end, Sydney took care of Melbourne, didn't they? They kicked away in the last term. You just wonder, it's only round 1. I remember Port beat Brisbane pretty comfortably round 1 last year, and Brisbane, miss out on a grand final by a kick. So we can't take too much into it, but you just wonder that you wouldn't want too many losses at Melbourne before things started really cracking in.
The pressure will come fast, you'd imagine.
Well, there's already pressure on them,
exactly.
All the dramas.
Yeah, everyone's watching them closely.
Yeah.
All right, good on you, Timmy.
Cheers, Tim.
Cheers, guys.
And speaking about report cards with distinctions, here's Ginnivan.
Tim Ginnivan on 5AA Breakfast.
Timmy G!
28 after 7, 5AA News is coming up. Federal politics and Janine Allis next.
Ignition for Men. Adelaide's home of luxury menswear offer an impeccable range of suits by leading Italian brands, including tailor-made wedding packages for the groom and groomsmen. Order 3 tailor-made suits and pay just $799 for each. Order 4 or more for just $749 each. Phenomenal value for a quality tailor-made suit. See Ignition for Men for tailor-made wedding packages. 54 Paynham Road, Stepney. ignitionformen.com.au. T's and C's apply.
The glass bottle is back. Flurio Milk Company are proud to bring you milk in a glass bottle. Look for milk refill stations in your supermarket, purchase your own glass bottle, fill it, take it home, drink it, wash it, and bring it back to use again. No plastic, no waste. Just fresh Flurio milk in a glass bottle. It's like the good old days, but better. Look for milk refill stations in your local supermarket or visit fluriomilkco.com.au.
Specsaver's advanced hearing aid technology helps cut through the background noise, available in almost 300 stores, along with experienced audiology professionals like Catherine Launchberry.
Hi, Matthew. Yes, our hearing aids can also stream music, movies, even answer the phone. We've got latest tech hearing aids to suit your lifestyle, all at everyday low prices.
And how do we know which one's the right, Catherine?
Well, hearing aids come in various shapes and sizes, and the cost is determined by the level of technology used. Specsavers audiology professionals are always here to help, with 12 months aftercare at no extra cost and a 90-day no-fuss returns policy. Plus, those eligible for the Government Hearing Services program can access hearing aids with no out-of-pocket expense. We encourage customers to shop around and compare with our upfront prices.
Sounds great. Thanks, Catherine. Head in store or visit specsavers.com.au/hearing. Always follow directions for use. Conditions apply under the Australian Government Hearing Services program.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 36 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Jess Adamson.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
A house and shed have gone up in flames at Onkaparinga Hills overnight. Vassal Melandris from the CFS says the blaze broke out on Windrush Rise just after 3 a.m.
It's believed the fire first impacted the large shed at the back before travelling along a pergola to the rear of the property. Firefighters fought hard to contain the fire to the back 2 rooms and thereby save the rest of the house from total destruction. One firefighter was treated at the scene for heat stress but did not require hospitalisation.
The occupants weren't home. It's understood they're interstate on holiday. It's going to be a scorcher this long weekend. We're heading for 36 today, but tomorrow is tipped to reach 40 before dropping back slightly to 38 on Sunday and Monday. Jenny Horvat from the Bureau says it'll be even hotter in some regional areas if people are heading away.
We do have that heat wave issued for severe heat wave conditions for the metropolitan area, including broad areas of southern parts of the state if people are travelling. So not going to see too much reprieve elsewhere around the state.
A Coober PD driver will face court after blowing more than 7 times over the legal blood alcohol limit. The 41-year-old woman crashed her car into the town's post office yesterday afternoon, damaging a door, post office boxes and a brick wall. She allegedly blew .379. She's being charged with drink driving and aggravated driving without due care. Police say finding the remains of Victorian woman Samantha Murphy is of primary importance after the son of a former AFL footballer was charged over her murder. Madeline Burke reports.
The 22-year-old is accused of killing the mother of 3 in the Mount Clear area after she went for a jog on the 4th of February. It's understood the suspect was on the radar of police for some time before he was arrested at his Scottsburn home early on Wednesday morning. Yesterday, the Chief Commissioner said the accused had not told detectives the location of Samantha Murphy's remains, and the investigation is far from over. A nationwide interim suppression order over the accused name, specific address and date of birth was granted by a magistrate yesterday afternoon. Media outlets are set to challenge that order in court later this morning.
Economists claim the latest interest rate hike from the Reserve Bank was a mistake because the economy was already slowing. Record high migration has prevented Australia from entering a recession and consumer spending has dropped. Wizard Home Loans Chairman Mark Burris says the board will look for a sustainable period of inflation before it starts slashing rates.
I would expect the next movement will be nothing and be neutral. They'll say no rate increase, no rate reduction, but we're looking for a sustainable period of inflation keep coming down or at least staying where it is.
A special event is being held in the city this morning to mark International Women's Day. Mel Usher has the details.
The Adelaide International Women's Day breakfast is the largest event celebrating the day in Australia, and it's the largest annual women's event on the Adelaide calendar. The event was established here more than 30 years ago. This morning's breakfast at the Convention Centre features Senator Penny Wong as host, with Annabelle Crabb as guest speaker. And we're being encouraged to wear the International Women's Day colours today: white, purple and green.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $1,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Outlander.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jess. Sydney has started its season with a win, taking care of Melbourne by 22 points at the SCG. Bailey Fritsch booted 4 goals for the D's, but it wasn't enough as they came up short. Brisbane will take on Carlton tonight, while there's another 2 games on tomorrow, but no Crows or Port in action this weekend. Let's go to basketball. The Illawarra Hawks have gone down to Melbourne United in overtime in the first game of their semi-final series. They led by 16 points with fewer than 7 minutes remaining, but eventually went down 115 to 106 after OT. Coach Justin Tatum is taking responsibility for the loss ahead of Sunday's now must-win Game 2.
It is what it is, but this one is on me, and this is on, my team understands that, they got to make sure that they got to find a way to pull the game out. Can't have a 17-point lead with any team and then allow to come back.
One game in the NRL overnight with the Canberra Raiders easily taking care of the Newcastle Knights 28 points to 12. There were mixed results for the English sides in Europa League action this morning. Liverpool smashed Sparta Prague 5-1. That was in the opening leg of their knockout tie. But Brighton was belted 4-0 by Roma.
Or Lukaku taking advantage of the slip by Dunk and finishing in style. Brighton creating their own problems.
Audio there thanks to Stan Sport. And there's another match currently still happening. It's 0-0 between Freiburg and West Ham heading into the second half. And Jess, that is the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery bonus prize deadline is midnight tonight. homelottery.com.au.
Really smooth run into work today. Accident breakdown free on the majors for the run to work, which is excellent for a Friday. Simply some work to look out for. You find them at Medindi Gardens, Nottage Terrace and Main North Road. Also at Edwardstown, South Road near Ackland Street. And we are slow at the moment at Chepps Cross, Paul Wakefield Road near Matthews Road. Busy Brighton Road, Brighton, with the Camera Baines Road at Onkaparinga Hills. Upgrade to the new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra with all new AI and enjoy Australia's best 5G on Telstra. Find out more in-store and online. 5G rolling out now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Sunny and 36 today, up to 40 tomorrow and 38 for Sunday and Monday. Right now, it's 20 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Baby, here I am, I'm a man on the scene.
Kia's most awarded SUV just got better. Get ready for the new, refined 7-seat Kia Sorento. Now with a dual 12.3-inch panoramic display and Kia Connect technology. Visit kia.com.au to find out more.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 8 is, of course, Meat Tray Friday. Thanks to Jimmy and the team at Mr. Meats, 45 Grange Road, West Hindmarsh. Look for the little red shop. We're nominating
Mr. Meats. And, of course, on International Women's Day, let's not forget Mrs. Meats.
Cannot forget Mrs. Meats, the whole family of Meats. We are on International Women's Day asking you, your female hero. We got some terrific stories and nominations in the first hour of the program. We'll continue to take those right through until 9 o'clock. You can call us on 8223 0000, jump on the Duttons text line. We are speaking with Janine Allis shortly, the woman behind the Boost Juice empire. Is going to talk to us a bit about her career as being a woman in business, the first of which started here in Adelaide, and how it's grown to be an absolute juggernaut. She's got a fascinating story to tell and a lot of interesting thoughts on the state of women in the workforce today as well. That's coming up in just a moment. Let's talk federal politics first. Though Zach De Silva is 9 Radio's federal politics reporter, and he joins us on this Friday morning. Good morning to you, Zach.
Good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
So, Zach, we've had, on both sides of politics, we've had the occasional person advocating nuclear power over the last 30 years, been a handful on the Labor side, more on the Liberal side, but Dutton actually taking a formal position where he's now at the point where he's specifying possible locations. It's the first time a party's ever really embraced it formally, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, Labor makes the point that this comes up every 10 years or so, particularly from the Liberal side of politics. But you're right, I don't think they've ever gone this far in terms of really going, this is exactly where we would put them. And I mean, we don't have that detail yet, but we are expecting them that they're going to, say these are the electorates where we'll put them. We're expecting them to be built on the sites of old coal power stations when they're decommissioned. It's quite a bold policy offering, and it'll be interesting to see at the next election if it's actually what people are interested in. I think one of the issues here is the timing, right? Like, even the Liberals say, well, you know, we could have something by the 2030s. Like, it's so far off in the distance that I think it makes it hard to sell. And when you're trying to make the argument, as they are, that, you know, this is going to bring power prices down, it's a bit hard to say, well, it will bring power prices down, but not for at least another decade.
When you look at what Labor's reaction is going to be to it, I mean, I know that in the past we had the situation where Peter Malinauskas had spoken out in favour of it with a few caveats and was slapped down immediately by the PM on this very show. Tanya Plibersek also, in response to any suggestion about nuclear power, always runs the line, well, do you want a nuclear dump or do you want a nuclear reactor in your suburb? That it's something that can be quite devastating politically, isn't it? Because if you run a local targeted campaign in, say, Port Augusta, for example, even though it's a safe Liberal seat, it becomes a bit of a problem for Liberal candidates in those seats, does it not?
Oh,
or
very,
a
very
challenge.
Much so. It makes it really hard to sell, and I will say Labor has this kind of ideological opposition to nuclear. It's part of their party's official platform, but, you know, they don't support nuclear energy. And so you do see this kind of quite strong reaction from a lot of Labor people whenever the idea of nuclear comes up. And I think there's probably some middle ground between, no, we don't want nuclear at all, and what the opposition's suggesting. And it probably starts with, you know, lifting the moratorium on nuclear power. But you're right, it does make it, from the Liberals' perspective, how do you sell to your constituents? Hey, guys, by the way, you know that coal power station? We're going to build a nuclear power station there. Don't worry, it's perfectly safe. Like, it's a hard argument to make, and I think that's why the Liberals have tried to limit the political damage here by saying, well, we're going to build them on the sites of old coal power stations. You know, these are communities that are already used to having these big industrial-looking things in their community. You know, their line they're going with, it's modern, it's high-tech, it's the latest stuff, and you know, it's not going to be the next Chernobyl or anything. That's the argument that they're making. But I think, yeah, it's pretty easy for Labor or for an independent or anyone to whip up a pretty solid scare campaign going, well, do you really want a nuclear reactor in your backyard? Do you really want the next Chernobyl or Fukushima in your backyard? Because that's where it'll go.
The one of the places that's been talked about was some backgrounding done to the local paper, the Advertiser, this morning suggests Port Augusta at the power station there. So we're starting to get some firmer details leak out. Have you got any timeline of when the opposition might release a fully fleshed out policy on this? We're hearing before the budget, but anything more specific than that?
No, that's all I've been told, before the budget. And we've noticed, I mean, you guys would have seen the same, over the last week or two, they've been slowly drip-feeding information to the newspapers. It sounds like it will be kind of in the next month or so.
Okay.
And clearly the timing for it is important for them. In the wake of the Dunkley by-election, you've got some Liberals going, well, you know, we need more policy ideas. We can't just be the party that, you know, as Labor calls them, says no to everything. You know, we need to put our own vision forward. And so I think there's that pressure on Peter Dutton as well. And that's broader than just the nuclear issue. That's across all portfolios and all areas. Some Liberals going, well, you know, we need to actually start putting some ideas forward. And I think this is potentially the start of a couple of them. And I expect we'll see more just after the budget in Peter Dutton's budget reply speech there as well.
Yeah, interesting period ahead then. Zach, thank you for
Thanks,
that.
Zach
De Silva, 9 Radio's federal politics reporter. It's 16 to 8. We're going to take a break. We'll check traffic and come back with Janine Allis in just a moment. Keezer, if you're tired of back pain, try Keezer, KIESER.com.au.
Really smooth run into work today. Accident breakdown free on the majors for the run to work, which is excellent for a Friday. Simply some works to look out for. You find them at Medindi Gardens, Nottage Terrace and Main North Road. Also at Edwardstown, South Road near Ackland Street. And we are slow at the moment at Jeps Cross, Port Wakefield Road near Matthews Road. Busy Brighton Road, Brighton, with the Camera Baines Road at Onkaparinga Hills. Upgrade to the new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra with all new AI and enjoy Australia's best 5G on Telstra. Won't add more in-store and online. 5G rolling out now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Thinking about a solar battery? Don't wait. Connect with NRG Solar and bring home a solar battery with a rock-solid 10-year warranty. Use the energy you generate during the day. Store some for later, reducing reliance on energy providers and putting money back in your pocket. See NRG Solar in their new premises at St Mary's. Bigger place, better space, some amazing people. Visit NRG Solar now at 1275 South Road or call 1300 858 160.
It's so close. You've got until midnight tonight to enter 3 draws to win a Mercedes and a luxury Maldives getaway. Get your Hospital Research Foundation home lottery tickets now. The bonus deadline is midnight tonight. Plus, your tickets stay in the draw for the $3.6 million Scott Salisbury Grand Prize at Henley Beach. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14493.
Before you do a thesis in dishwasher, depart on an oven odyssey, or make a pilgrimage up Mount Washing Machine. Just trying to work out what appliances to get? Drop into Adelaide Appliance Gallery. We're here to make your life easier. We've got the best advice, best appliances, and the best offers on SMEG. Save up to 15% with special discounts on fridges, cookers, dishwashers, and more. That's 15% off. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
Don't just send it, ace it.
If your current job is driving you bonkers, get outdoors and hit the road. ACET Transport Solutions is growing and they need more drivers to keep their promise of perfect service. So, if you want a career that'll take you places, get in touch with the team at ACET Transport Solutions. Visit acettransport.au.
Don't just send it, ACET.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Well, on this International Women's Day, it's something we endeavour to do each and every year is speak to some of the most successful women in Australia, and we're delighted to be able to continue that tradition this morning and today by speaking with someone who has done incredible things in the world of business, someone who's done incredible things in the world of television, on the Shark Tank, someone I enjoyed watching on Survivor, I should say, as well, as a fan of that particular program, but most importantly, as the founder of Boost Juice. Janine Allis joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Janine, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're good, thanks, Janine. I've got to say, this might be the ultimate compliment for you. I have 4 children, ages 6, 8, 17 and 21. Any shopping mall we go to in South Australia, all 4 of them, the first thing they say is, can we get a Boost Juice?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Keep up the good work.
It's such a brilliant brand, though. And I think it's one of those things, too, like quality, people are prepared to pay for quality. Parents endorse it because it's not sugary crap. Like, it's such a clever idea, but it started with such humble beginnings.
Yeah, it did. It really did. I mean, we started in Adelaide in King William Street. We probably did the worst possible lease we could possibly do in a heritage listing building that had no air conditioning. And that's actually where the King William chocolate comes from King William Street. So our roots are very much Adelaide.
You describe yourself in your book as an accidental entrepreneur. But I thought about that title in the context of International Women's Day. I wonder if a bloke would describe themselves that way. Do you think you're too modest in terms of the origins of your success as a business person?
No, not at all. Like, the day you think you're there yet is the day you should be, basically pushing up daisies. I firmly believe that there's a better way you can find it. And, like if I said to you in 2019, yes, we're successful, it's great, and then suddenly a pandemic comes and every single store shuts, you go, okay, maybe we're not so good. So, look, business is like a big Volvo with airbags. You don't know where you're going to get hit at any point, at any time. So I think anyone who's arrogant enough to think that their business is there and it's successful, good luck to you.
The interesting thing, though, is like you had no prior business experience. What was the feeling like when, because you started making these juices at home and then, you're talking about the first store here just down the road from where we're sitting now in King William Street. What was the feeling like when it suddenly dawned on you that this was turning into a juggernaut?
Look, to be honest, if you're on a train, it goes really fast. You don't know how fast the train's going. All you know that you had to solve the problem that's in front of you. And that was opening, squillions of stores. So you don't think. I had 3 little kids at home, right? The youngest one was 7 months old. I had no life. I just basically put my head down, my bum up, and just worked. And I don't say that as a negative because I actually loved it. I didn't even realise. And you're quite right. I had no idea debit or credit. So I was on basically a trajectory of learning like I've never learned before. So I did a business course that was called Boost Juice Bars. And I challenge any lawyer that knows more about trademarks than I do. So you just, despite the fact that I went to school at 16, that's why I'm a real big believer that education, school is important, uni is important, but it's just the start. You don't even, it's not even scratching the surface of what you do with learning. So, people who look at someone who's gone to uni and goes, you have an advantage over someone who hasn't, I think is a fool.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
When the Boost Juice empire evolved into Retail Zoo and you took on other brands, Chibo, Salsa's Fresh Mex and others, was that a huge risk or was that sort of just the next logical step at the time?
Look, I think that you go, all right, the business is growing. What are we good at? So you stop every day. You stop every 6 months to go, all right, let's do a plan of what the next 6 months looks like. So we sat down, what are we good at? So we thought, because I was a control freak, we had accounting teams, we had legal teams, we had design teams. So we had all of this infrastructure that needed to be fed. And so it was like, okay, what are we good at? We're good at growing brands. We're good at taking small businesses and making them huge. And so we thought, okay, well, let's look at the next, brand. We call it that brand that has magic dust. What is special about a brand? And Salsa and Betty's Burgers was definitely one of those. And so then we bring it in and we basically, work our magic to it and then grow it because we have this infrastructure to be able to grow. So businesses have to grow. If they're not growing, they're going backwards, and you've got to continue to find ways to grow.
Do you think that in terms of, and putting this in the context of International Women's Day, a lot of the qualities that make business people succeed, and thinking about the way the man who, personally, I'm not thrilled with the idea, but he's probably going to be the President of the United States again. The way Trump conducted himself when he was on Celebrity Apprentice, there's a certain machismo about succeeding in business that clearly, none of those qualities are qualities that you would share. But what's it like as a woman when you get into those sort of king of the world environments with guys who act like Trump?
Oh, yeah, look, yeah, that's another whole conversation about Trump, bloody hell. At the end, look, the thing is, though, I've never felt like, sure, I'm a girl from the 80s. I was working in the 80s and, I was told by my boss, who kept on putting his grubby little hands on me, that I had to put up with it, right? And had men under the table looking up the skirt. Like, it was just the 80s, right? But I have never, working in business, felt like being a female was a negative. In actual fact, I found it a huge positive. So I'm not one of these women that go, women are held down, there's not enough CEOs, there's not enough chairmen. I'm not one of those. I go, we are in an environment now that there is nothing stopping us but ourselves. And so when I was in a room of men, right, and it was always men, I was probably the least educated, and I was probably but it never, not once did I feel less than. In actual fact, when I go into a meeting, I have a goal. What is my goal for this meeting? And I don't care if he's like a Trump, right? If I had to deal with a Trump and he thinks I'm just this little girl that he needs to help, I will let him help me all the way to my goal, right? I did not care. So I never went in. If I thought, okay, if I need to sort of stroke his ego to get him to sign a contract, mate, I will stroke his ego, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you're the most amazing man with the greatest hair. Good luck to you, right? So for me, I think in business, you use any skill you have. And one of the skills I found I had, particularly early days, not so much now because there's heaps of these amazing women doing amazing things, but back then is they would have meeting after meeting after meeting with men. So then suddenly they've got this woman in the room. I had, because I was so busy, I had long hair to my bum, curly, looked like I should be running naked in the bush, right? And they didn't know what to do with me. And so they were, so in actual fact, it gave me an edge. And so people who sort of, so any situation, you can look at the positives or the negatives. And I never once did I feel that it was a negative being a female.
Yeah. We had a landmark release of data just over a week ago now. The top 250 companies in the country had to release their gender wage gap information, get a sort of a snapshot of where corporate Australia is at. What was your reaction to that first of its kind look at how well our biggest companies are doing?
Yeah, never even looked at it. But
okay.
I
don't care?
Because I think, don't care. The thing is, though, we're not stats. We're individuals. And so you can have a choice. If you believe you're not paid well enough, then go to your boss and actually talk to them about the value you're giving and why you deserve more, right? So, the women I know are not even looking at the stats. They're just going on with their business and killing it, right? So people can sort of use as an excuse, I'm a woman, look at the stats, I'm never going to get there because I'm a woman, or you just get on with it. So I think that, and as I said to you before, I've lived the 80s, I've lived the 70s. I know what it's like to be looked at as a little girl hasn't got a brain. It is not that now. It is, I look at my 15-year-old and my 15-year-old goes, I can do anything I want. The only thing that we have got that you guys haven't got is we're the only ones that can give birth. So until we actually can get a little aquarium that we can just feed the children, right? Until that happens, we're still in, right? So, there is going to be
I got to say, I'm quite happy with that arrangement too, Janine, having seen 4 births.
It's horrific, is it? Can you ever get that out of your head?
It's a miracle, but it's a miracle. I'm happy to leave the heavy lifting to your side of the gender equation.
Yeah, I know. Having done it 4 times, and it's weird. It's like your brain gets wiped. And until you actually have that first labour pain, you go, shit, that's right, it freaking hurts.
Your brain's designed to wipe, because otherwise you wouldn't do it twice.
It'd be the end of the human race.
No, it would be gone. There'd be no humans.
Just wanted to explore that sentiment a bit, Janine, there. Do you think there's actually a danger then, the fixation of the gender pay gap and the way in which we talk about inequality in the workplace between the genders is actually in danger of entrenching some of that inequality as opposed to actually preventing it?
Look, I think that all the business I know I'm involved with, it's that people definitely hire on merit. I think that there's and they also and the women I know now aren't shy in coming forward. Look, the reality is men tend to be more forward fronting with regard to pay and what they feel like they deserve. Women are more, they're an emotional being. We've got to remember we're still animals, right? And women are nurturing, they're more group, they're multi-skilled. I mean, you can't get a better woman executive because of that ability to do a million things at once. But women would expect to be recognised and rewarded. Men push it. So I think that that's probably where the majority of the gap is that women aren't forward. So anyone listening here that's a woman who believes that they deserve it, then push forward, right? It's not bossy. It's actually just making sure that you are being heard, seen, but always approach it in the sense of the value you're giving to the business, not just you deserve it.
Yeah. Hey, Janine, it's been so good talking to you.
Absolutely.
And one of my favourite bits of our chat was the fairy dust idea, because I'm not much of a shopper, but as I said at the start, I'm happy to buy my kids a Boost Juice, but thinking about Betty's Burgers, Chibo, Fresh Mex Grill, they're all businesses that I'd go, oh yeah, there's one of them, I'm eating there, I'm buying something there. And the eye that you've had, it's a huge credit to you, starting as humbly as you did just down the road, so good on you.
Absolutely.
And thanks for sharing your story with us today on International Women's Day.
Hey, my pleasure.
Get obsessed with the Honda SUV range at Formula Honda, Modbury and Glen Osmond. Whether it's the compact HRV, the sporty mid-sized Honda ZR-V, or the spacious CR-V. And for a limited time, new Honda SUVs come with a 7-year warranty, 7-year roadside assist, and 5 standard low-price services at $199 each. Visit Formula Honda, Modbury or Glen Osmond and test drive today. Vehicles used for a commercial purpose have a 7-year or 200,000 kilometre warranty, whichever occurs first. T's and C's at honda.com. beachwood.com.au.
Some builders think a sloping block has limitations. When Beechwood Homes look at a sloping block, they think, the possibilities. Beechwood Homes know how to make the most of a sloping block. In fact, they specialise in them. Beechwood will design a home that works with the land you have, taking full advantage of every square metre. So if you're looking at a sloping block, go for it. Beechwood has your back. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Step up your camping game. Step up to air conditioning. And step up to a kitchen and ensuite with mains pressure cold and hot water. This summer, step up to an Austrac camper.
Austrac campers.
Up to the minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Sunny and 36 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Jess Adamson.
Keep your body in shape with Physio Extra clinical Pilates and group exercise classes. PhysioExtra.com.
A firefighter's been treated for heat stress while battling a blaze at Onkaparinga Hills overnight. The blaze broke out in a shed on Windrush Rise before spreading along the pergola to the house. Vassal Melandris from the CFS says 2 rooms at the back of the property were destroyed.
The occupants weren't home at the time. It's believed they were interstate on holiday. The damage bill is estimated to reach $300,000, and fire cause investigators will spend the morning sifting through the evidence and trying to understand how this fire started.
Charges have been laid against a man over a fatal crash at Golden Grove last week. A Ford Territory collided with 2 other cars at the intersection of Atlantis Drive and the Grove Way. Senior Constable Matt Brown says a 32-year-old Blair Athol woman was killed and another woman was injured.
The driver of the Ford Territory, a 61-year-old Hillbank man, was also taken to hospital. And yesterday, major crash investigators arrested the driver of the Ford Territory. He's been charged with causing death by dangerous driving and causing harm by dangerous driving, and he's been bailed to appear in the Elizabeth Magistrates Court on the 3rd of June.
A woman's crashed into the post office in Coober Pedy, taking out post boxes and damaging a door and brick wall. The 41-year-old allegedly blew .379, more than 7 times over the limit. She's been charged with drink driving and aggravated driving without due care. A cheeky new ad campaign in the battle against breast cancer is encouraging women over the age of 40 to make time for the girls by booking in for a free breast screen that could save their life. Breast Screen SA says the ad is being launched today on International Women's Day. It encourages women to give their cans a scan and make time for your melons. 1 in 7 Australian women are diagnosed with breast cancer before the age of 85. The number of women faced with the impossible choice of returning to a violent home or confronting homelessness has jumped by more than 20% in the past year. Homelessness Australia Chief Executive Kate Colvin says the government must look at urgent funding packages to protect the safety of women and children fleeing violence.
This is a really critical issue where pathways to safe housing and women's safety are really linked, and that's why in order to achieve outcomes for women's safety, the government needs to deliver on pathways to safe housing.
A state funeral will be held today for Dr. Lewitcha O'Donoghue. Mel Usher reports.
Today's service for Dr. Lewitcha O'Donoghue will honour her lifelong work and advocacy to improve the rights, health and well-being of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. Her accolades and achievements are many. In 1977, she became the first Aboriginal woman to be made a member of the Order of Australia. That was followed by Australian of the Year in 1984 and being named an Australian National Living Treasure in 1998. She was also made a Commander of the Order of the British Empire and a Companion of the Order of Australia, along with honorary doctorates from universities around Australia. Dr. O'Donoghue passed away peacefully on February 4 with her immediate family by her side. She was 91. Today's service will be held at St Peter's Cathedral at 1 p.m. Members of the public are welcome to attend. The funeral will also be live streamed.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $2,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Triton.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jess. Sydney's opened their AFL season with a 22-point win over Melbourne. Swans coach John Longmire understandably thrilled with the result.
I thought we did a great job. I thought, our second half in particular, we
we got on top in the contest, which we were probably a little bit behind in that first half, and it was wonderful.
The Crows will train this morning despite not having a game this weekend, while the opening round continues tonight with Brisbane hosting Carlton at the Gabba. Let's go to soccer, and Adelaide United will train this morning as they prepare for tomorrow night's grudge match against the Melbourne Victory at home. The Reds simply must win to have any chance of making the finals. Meantime, Liverpool smashed Sparta Prague 5-1 in the opening leg of its knockout tie in the Europa League. To cricket, Australia will field an unchanged lineup when the second men's test gets underway against New Zealand in Christchurch this morning. The Aussies hoping to finish their tour undefeated. The Adelaide Cup barrier draw will be held at Adelaide Oval this morning, with local hope the Map hoping for a favourable draw. Aussie Minwoo Lee has made a great start at the Arnold Palmer Invitational in Florida, finishing at 3 under, which means he's only 2 shots off the lead. A great result for Aussie Alexander Vukic, who's had a straight sets win to move into the second round of the Indian Wells Tennis Tournament in California. And athletes from Russia and Belarus who are competing under a neutral banner at the Paralympics in Paris will not be permitted to take part in the opening or closing ceremonies. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery bonus prize deadline is midnight tonight. homelottery.com.au.
At Henley Beach, small bingo look out for this morning on Military Road at Granger Road causing delays. Activity O'Halloran Hill, Main South Road near Lander Road, speeds at 40. We are slow at Medindi Gardens at the moment. Nottage Terrace near Main North Road, speeds at 40. And slow at Jeps Cross 2, Port Wakefield Road near Matthews Road. Cameras Doothie Streets, Unley and Port Road in Hindmarsh. Right now at 40 Winks, get any size Sealy Posturepedic mattress for the price of a single, plus earn double Qantas points on your purchase. Hurry, sale ends Sunday. Exclusions and T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
36 today, up to 40 tomorrow and 38 for the rest of the long weekend. Right now it's 22 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
We're with Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop Real Estate. Bronte, I'm guessing the emergence of the internet flipped the property industry on its head.
Before the internet, buyers used to view properties from a range of areas. Now they type in a specific suburb in their devices and the surrounding areas are practically invisible.
When selling, what's the trick to making sure as many people as possible know about your home?
At Toop and Toop, we have a very effective way of geo-targeting buyers, making sure the West Beach buyer knows about a suitable home in Fulham Gardens and the Medindi buyer is alerted to a home in Prospect.
That sounds very technical. Why doesn't everyone do this?
For 32 years, we've spent endless amounts of money on research and development. That's why we keep delivering record results for our clients year on year.
To find out more, go to toop.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8, Breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. If you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll note we have been joined each and every morning this week by the magnificent Benzina sports scooter.
We love it.
At $8,500. Thanks to our good friends at Steinborner Automotive. Now, Rowie and Timmy G are giving this away, and to be in the running to win it, all you need to do is give them a call. Give them a call during the sports show and have a chat about anything that's going on. You may have managed to even stay awake during all 4 quarters of the game last night, in which case I think you should be well and truly in the running. You can give them a call to tell them that.
If so, what was your secret?
Yeah,
How did you do it?
Find 40 years experience plus Hyundai, Ford, Mitsubishi and Mazda at Steinborner Automotive. Visit steinborner.com.au.
Big thanks to everyone who's texted in about our interview just now with Janine Allis. So many messages. Max in Beaumont, Catherine. I got a private text from Mark Adonis, who's the owner of the excellent Samtas Fish Mungery down there on Richmond Road. So many people saying just what a breath of fresh air she was, and just her, crack in attitude. Inspirational stuff. And Max, one of the many parents who texted in saying they're going to get the audio and play it to their daughters.
We chat with her, of course, on International Women's Day, and to celebrate the day, we're giving away a meat tray as well, thanks to Mr. Meats, 45 Granger Road West, Hindmarsh, the little red shop. We're asking you to nominate a female hero. We'll continue to take your nominations right through until 9 o'clock this morning on 8223 You can text us on the Duttons text line. Big 10 Ford, Jeddah Haval, Hyundai, Isuzu Ute, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan Ram, Subaru and Volkswagen. Duttons, easy to do business with.
There's been a massive public reaction since we broke the story early last month about the financial woes that have gripped the beloved Western Hospital there, just down off Granger Road. Obviously a hugely important part of the health services that people in the western suburbs and beyond rely upon. Well, how's this? Yesterday, a petition signed by 11,000 people was tabled at State Parliament, and one of the drivers of that petition was Colleen Billows, who is the widow of Gordon Billows, who was the first chairman of the Western Hospital, and is actually buried there. Such was his love of the hospital. We have Colleen on the line now, and we're also going to be talking to the Shadow Treasurer Matt Cowdery and the Treasurer Stephen Mulligan on the latest in terms of the fight to save the hospital. But to kick it off with you, Colleen, this is that petition. It shows how beloved this hospital is, doesn't it?
It was amazing. I went up to Parliament to watch, and that's another experience to hear the rabble that was going on in there. But I felt so happy for Matt, who it was through you people letting that rumour come out on your Monday, on your 8 o'clock rumour file. It was brilliant because Matt got a petition going straight away to make sure it remains a healthcare facility. The local community, I'd like to thank them because their support and interest in the hospital has been absolutely brilliant. I've sat at West Lakes just with a petition, and people have come up to me saying, "Oh, have you got the petition for the hospital?
Yeah, right.
We'll sign it."
Wow.
And we've had people from all over the state that use the hospital that have willingly signed it. It is the hub of the community, and I think I only had 2 people who didn't want to sign it for political reasons, but Matt and Angelo Pioveson have been absolutely brilliant. Everything's continuing as normal. We've got to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the important thing.
Absolutely, Colleen. Well, we have Matt Cowdery on the line. Matt, you've been more sort of, I guess, prosecuting this, not so much purely as the Shadow Treasurer, but as the local member. And, as a member for Colton, this is obviously massively important for your constituents. I understand it's also going to be the subject of examination by the Parliament?
Well, that's right. Under the legislation that was moved in the last Parliament, any petition that now garners more than 10,000 signatures triggers a referral to a parliamentary committee. So we hope, off the vast community support, and the support will keep coming from the community and keeping the hospital continuing where it is. This petition wasn't just about showing government, the administrators and any potential buyers a level of support. I think that's very, very clear, but also to encourage the state government to do everything that they can in their power to support the sale, to make that as smooth and as attractive as possible, whether that be around the land use of zoning or zoning of the hospital land itself, whether that be around commitments to the level of public elective surgery coming into the hospital. We can't leave any stone unturned here. I'm more than willing to work with the government in this area, to work with the Treasurer. If there's anything that we can do together to make this hospital as appealing as possible for a sale, that is what must be done.
Absolutely. We do have the Treasurer on the line, Stephen Mulligan. Treasurer, you've obviously been across this for a while, and I know that, well, we also knew here at 5AA, but didn't want to go public with the story while there was still a hope that it could be resolved. Clearly that wasn't the case in the end. I presume you've been in touch with the administrators. What's the latest on where things are at?
Yeah, look, and thanks for having me on as well as Colleen and Matt. I think that petition demonstrates how important it is, not just to the people of the western suburbs, but all over the state. I've spoken to the administrators this week. The landlord appointed an administrator who had undertaken this same very task for a community hospital in New South Wales, and they managed to keep the doors open and find a new operator for that. So, I'd like to think that the bloke that we've got here at the Western Hospital knows what they're doing and is going to give it the best chance of succeeding. They've successfully kept the doors open, which I think was the number one priority we had, to keep the services going there while they go through this process of being in administration. And they're working through the process now of getting ready to go to market and engage with potential new operators to get it onto a sustainable footing for the future. I think they've spent a few weeks now trying to understand why the business was unfortunately running at a loss for a long period of time, trying to fix those issues up, get it on the right footing so that they're ready to start engaging with new operators. And, it's obviously too early to say before we go through that process, but, I'm just very pleased that we've seen the landlord and the administrator be able to keep the doors open and keep the services going while all of this is going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen Mulligan there, and also Colleen Billows and Matt Cowdery, the member for Colton. Thanks for joining us for Breaking at 8. I actually reckon that's that last 6 minutes of radio. That's actually a good example of politics working properly, isn't it?
Yeah, everyone wants the same outcome. I think that helps.
I reckon it's a big credit to Matt as the local member that he immediately realised the import of this, and driven as it was by grassroots people like Colleen as well. A huge credit to her. Clearly, it's almost like a family crusade, given her husband's role in it. But I do know that Steve Mulligan, he's Matt Cowdery's next door neighbour. Their seats align, and there'd be heaps of residents in his seat. Lee, is it? Or did it used to be called Lee? Whatever Steve Mulligan's seat is there in Port Adelaide. It's a huge issue right from the FIVEAA Peninsula all the way down to...
It just goes to show there are still issues that are bigger than politics.
Yeah.
It's too devastating for the community in the western suburbs to lose that hospital.
Yeah.
And by extension, other hospitals then.
Yeah. So let's just hope a new operator can be found.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Kim on the Duttons text line, who's become our resident Kings Reserve insider. Kings Reserve, of course, the site of the much protested Adelaide Crows headquarters. Kim has taken to it various times of day, going down to Kings Reserve and documenting how few people are actually ever there. 7:15 p.m. last night, says Kim. Kings Reserve, Thurby. Glorious weather and no 5031 Action Group members. Perhaps, he says, this deserted place could make way for a nuclear power station. Well,
we're looking for spots.
Well, why not? I mean, there's an old saying, you could fire a cannon down there and not hit anyone. You could use a burst weapon. In fact, you could drop a nuclear device, and I don't think there'd be a single casualty in Kings Reserve.
Those photos are terrific.
It's 7 o'clock at night on a perfect summer's evening. Not a soul there.
Have we ever given Kim a 5AA breakfast cup?
I think we should.
Yeah, we'll get him one of the new ones.
Kim, call in.
Kim might be the first recipient of the new ones.
I don't think we've received the new ones
Haven't
yet.
we?
No, we don't have any. So
theoretically, got to get them past those hootsies or whatever they're called.
The Hooties.
The Hooties.
The Houthis.
Hootie and the Blowfish. What are they called?
Houthis.
Yeah.
Houthi. It's a
It's a bit of a Riley Philthorpe type thing.
Not Hootie. Not Hootie and the Blowfish. They have not...
Good thing Ida Buttrow's not on radio.
Hootie and the Blowfish have not disrupted shipping.
Or Alan Searle.
No, that's
Remember him? Aphids in your undergrowth.
We're going to get some gluttony tickets to give away. We'll do that in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Can I do that?
In a second, but we'll check traffic first.
I like doing that.
Keezer, tired of back pain. Time to try Keezer. KIESER.com.au.
At Henley Beach, got a small bingle to look out for. Military Road at Granger Road causing delays. We are slow at the moment at McGill for works. Penfold Road near Adelaide Street, speeds at 40. Getting busy at Edwardstown, South Road near Ackland Street, and slow Brighton Road, Brighton. You find cameras today, Conningham Street, Glenunga, and Dyson Road at Christie's Beach. On Audi A3 and Q3 models, take advantage of 3 years, 45,000 kilometres scheduled servicing, and 2 March 31 at your preferred Audi dealer. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
The Sam Kerr incident, we wanted to go on the side of innocent until proven guilty. It came out today exactly what was said to the policeman.
You stupid white bastard.
Yeah, so that's out there. Why has it actually gone this far? You think this could have been solved, done and dusted within a couple of days, wouldn't you?
The 5AA Sports Show.
Racism doesn't have a colour.
It doesn't.
Racism is racism.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
After 25 years of delivering perfect service, ACET Couriers is evolving to better reflect what they do now. They're not just couriers, they're your go-to for fast, secure and reliable national transport solutions, now known as ACET Transport Solutions. Darren, Chris and the team at ACET Transport Solutions have a fleet of over 220 vehicles delivering any size parcel and any size pallet to anywhere in Australia. Book online at acettransport.au. Don't send it, ACET.
Before you do a thesis in dishwasher, depart on an oven odyssey, or make a pilgrimage up Mount Washing Machine. Just trying to work out what appliances to get? Drop into Adelaide Appliance Gallery. We're here to make your life easier. We've got the best advice, best appliances, and the best offers on Smeg. Choose from Smeg's linear range of ovens and save up to $1,200 during the clearance sale. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
At the brand new Kent Town Hotel, there's room for everyone. The Kent Bar oozes with happy times and has outdoor seating undercover for over 150 people, while upstairs, the balcony bar has another 150 seats inside and out. And there's always the pool room too for that party of 30.
Now, Will and I have been there. I've been there a couple of times, actually, several times, in fact. But you've got to see...
You're committed to research on this issue,
Oh, yeah,
I
I really threw myself into it.
Yeah. That's a real
when
commitment.
the salespeople said, "Are you available to go to an excellent pub?" I said, "I reckon I am."
Yeah, you do
I
a
reckon
deep
I can
dive
do
on
that
this.
most days, any time after 9. Now, Will and I have been in there. Now, Tom, the owner, he's been in hotels all his life, and he knows how to make your experience memorable. Like the stunning 90-seat restaurant that opens fully to the street, where you'll find oysters opened French style, bit of the old mignonette on the side. Plus, how's that wine area? More than 400 wines to choose from.
It is superb, and it's little wonder that they won the Best Hotel Redevelopment Award.
So get in there, the Kent Town Hotel. Everyone is loving this pub.
Get obsessed with the Honda SUV range at Formula Honda, Modbury and Glen Osmond. Whether it's the compact HRV, the sporty mid-sized Honda ZRV, or the spacious CRV. And for a limited time, new Honda SUVs come with a 7-year warranty, 7-year roadside assist, and 5 standard low-price services at $199 each. Visit Formula Honda, Modbury or Glen Osmond and test drive today. Vehicles used for a commercial purpose have a 7-year or 200,000 kilometre warranty, whichever occurs first. T's and C's at honda.com.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes after 8, we've been delighted to welcome Jess Adamson to the 5AA Breakfast team, reading the news on Friday mornings to rave reviews. Everyone's enjoyed having Jess on board. It's been absolutely terrific, but her commitment to excellence has long gone beyond the four walls of the 5AA newsroom. Last night, Jess was hosting a massive event, and an important one, with some incredible stories that were told. And you can read about them in the Times of this morning. The Advertiser, Sunday Mail, Sky City Woman of the Year Awards. Jess, we wanted to get you in just to talk a little bit about this. And good morning to you.
Good morning to you both. It was an extraordinary night. I think it was the 5th Woman of the Year Awards, and every single year I am just staggered by the calibre of the finalists, and last night was no different. It kicked off with an address from Her Excellency the Governor, which is always a great start.
She's so impressive, isn't she?
Oh, she's just incredible.
We love our chats with her. We've spoken to her several times. She's a phenomenal person. So, and like, what a life. What her own achievements, just remarkable, aren't they?
They really are, and she's so willing to share those talents and experiences. She's hosting a breakfast this morning at Government House for International Women's Day. We heard last night from our winner last year, Catherine Bennell-Pegg, she's currently astronaut training in Germany, so couldn't be there. If that is not the greatest excuse to not be at an event, I don't know what is. But she was just fantastic. And we heard from STEM superstars, sportswomen, young rural women, and of course the overall winner, Corporal Kabura Ali, who just has the most incredible story.
I love her story.
Yeah, she brought the room to tears. There were so many of us that were in tears last night, and she joined the Australian Army to give back to our country because our country gave her family another opportunity. She was just 2 when her family fled Afghanistan and 9 when she arrived in Australia, 7 years after her father left Afghanistan. So
they're on the run from the Taliban, who we were fighting against.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget that, don't they? A lot of people, all these people coming in from Afghanistan. So actually, the reason they're coming here is because they're on the same side as us against the Taliban.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And she spoke about that just so eloquently last night. But what I love about the Woman of the Year Awards is that we recognise so many women that fly under the radar, just so many women that we just don't know about. And it just gets better and better every year.
Jess, we've loved having you as part of the 5AA Breakfast Show. I'm not saying farewell. So the tone suggests farewell, but I'm not trying to impart that. I'm saying
I wanted to say something else. Apart from your excellent work here, Jess, your columns in the paper are so good. Like, there's a lot of columnists who write about stuff that they're interested in, by which I mainly mean, particularly in the sort of chin-scratching sort of Fairfax press, there's this sort of... I'm going to write about politics because I'm interested in politics. That piece you wrote this week about menopause... I reckon every woman would be reading that, whether they're at that point in life or not, and going, this is a column that speaks to me. So your appointment at the editor, at the advertiser by the editor, has added a lot of good, relevant content to that paper.
Thank you, Pembo. I've never had so much feedback to a column ever than menopause, and mostly from men who said, thank God you're recognising that it's not great for them either. I managed to drop the menopause word at the Property Council lunch yesterday. I think the first time in Property Council history we talked about menopause.
Did everyone whip the phone out for the Google? Okay,
absolutely.
What's that?
But it was a good explanatory column too, for guys who don't know anything about it.
Yeah. It's,
why is it such a taboo?
As my husband keeps telling me, it's not easy for them either.
I'm
Good on
sure
you,
you
Jess.
exaggerate.
Thanks, boys.
We'll let you get back to the newsroom. Jess Adamson, reading the news for us on Fridays, in amongst an incredibly busy schedule, writing for the paper and, of course, hosting a host of marquee events right around Adelaide. Speaking of that event last night...
Jess Adamson is the living embodiment of the saying, if you want to get something done, ask a busy person to do it for you. Seriously.
That event last night, Corporal Kabura Ali won the major award, the first Afghan woman to join the Australian Army. Her story's an incredible one. Jade Robran was there last night and caught up with the winner of the Rising Star Award, Corporal Kabura Ali.
Kabura, congratulations. A few minutes ago you were just named the Advertiser Woman of the Year. What does that mean to you?
That means a lot because I wasn't expecting it. You know, being amongst such empowering and brazen women of South Australia, this is such a great recognition that is an honour and a blessing.
You are the first Afghani woman to join the Australian Army. How did that come about and why did you want to do that?
From a young age, I wanted to give back because Australia had given us so much and my family. It gave us a new home and I wanted to give back because as a responsible citizen, I felt that was the most important thing that I can do for our country.
When did you come out to Australia?
In 2007, in March, when I was 9 years of age.
And what does Australia mean to you? Is it home now?
Of course, it's my homeland, and that's exactly why I serve.
What are you most proud of in all your achievements, everything that you've done in life? What's the proudest moment?
Going home and making my mom and dad smile because at the end of the day, they literally sacrificed their whole life to give us this beautiful land and a land of opportunity where I can do anything I want.
So Dad came out here first?
Yes, he came by boat in 2000, taking refuge in Australia.
And then when did the family come out?
We came in 2007, so we were apart for 7 years.
That must have been really, really difficult.
Yes, as the youngest child in my family, I was always craving the love of my dad, which I felt like I didn't have, obviously because of the separation. And yeah, that's.
Last year you ran a marathon. Why did you choose to do that?
A marathon was a way of me to really get away in nature and really think about what our ancestors used to do. And that's something I know girls in Afghanistan can't do, something as simple as running outside as a sport. And I wanted to do that simple act of solidarity for them in a way to showcase that I still remember them.
Have you still got a connection to Afghanistan? Do you that message that you sent through doing the marathon, does that get heard back in your homeland?
Of course, I shared it on my socials where if the girls from Afghanistan do follow that, we are still their hope in voicing their concerns about fighting for their basic needs to education, sports and innovation. And I hope it does. And like tonight, it got recognition for that. The marathon did. So I'm hoping to elevate their voices through anything that I do, whether that's sport or serving our country.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's a great interview by Jade. Her story is a remarkable one. It's an inspiring one. It actually makes you feel good about your country, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Makes you feel good about when you hear how Australia's seen through the eyes of someone who's seen what the rest of the world can be like.
Totally.
And
it's
wants to
often
serve the
refugees and migrants are often the ones who get it, get it more than those of us who are lucky enough to be born here. They go, how good is this joint?
Absolutely. Great chat. And a well-deserved recipient of the award last night. 5AA News is coming up. It's a Friday morning, 8:30 time, which means we're feeding back after the break. We've got $100 worth of fish to give away, thanks to the great people at Samtas. If you want to be part of Feedback Friday, be part of one of the next 3 callers through, and we'll
hop to it.
We'll take the temperature on a couple of the big and very minor issues of the last 5 days. 8223 0000. First 3 callers through for Feedback Friday.
Doing your bit for our planet is easy. Drink Fluorio milk, now available in a glass bottle. No plastic, no waste. Fluorio Milk Company is proud to bring back milk in a glass bottle. It's easy. Look for milk refill stations in your supermarket, purchase your own glass bottle, fill it with amazing Fluorio milk, take it home, drink it, wash it and bring it back to use again. No plastic, no waste. Visit fluoriomilkco.com.au for locations.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Sunny and 36 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Jess Adamson.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
Fire Corps investigators will spend the morning trying to work out what sparked a house and shed fire at Onkaparinga Hills. The blaze broke out on Windrush Rise just after 3 a.m, causing around $300,000 damage. The owners are believed to be interstate on holiday. A firefighter was treated at the scene for heat stress. While fire crews remain on red alert as the mercury continues to rise. Our March heatwave is staying in the high 30s today, but will hit 40 tomorrow. Brenton Hasty from the CFS says this week's fire at Narracourt shows how flammable fuel loads are.
We had a scrub and grass fire burn 20 hectares in relatively benign conditions, which shows that the underlying dryness in the environment at the moment is risking extreme fire behaviour.
As we head into the long weekend, the RAA says we need to share the road safely. Last year, 17 lives were lost in March, the worst month on our roads since 2015. The warning comes as major crash investigators charged a 61-year-old Hillbank man with death by dangerous driving after a 32-year-old Blairatha woman was killed in a crash at Golden Grove last week. He'll face court in June. South Australia's merchandise exports have hit a record high of just over $18 billion. Trade and Investment Minister Nick Champion says we're outpacing the nation as the only jurisdiction to experience export growth.
Yeah, it's a terrific result. $18 billion worth of exports over the last 12 months and 8.7% growth in that year. Just a terrific outcome and leading the country.
A formal investigation has been launched after a soldier died during a military training drill in Sydney's northwest. Jack Fitzgibbon, the son of former Defence Minister Joel Fitzgibbon, was killed in a parachuting accident during training at the Richmond Air Base. Brigadier James Kidd says the ADF has paused all parachuting activities until further notice.
Defence has initiated a formal investigation into this incident as we seek to learn how we can strengthen our processes. But we acknowledge that military training is inherently risky.
Joel Fitzgibbon has released a statement expressing the family's heartbreak. Well, Mad March will peak this long weekend. Mel Usher says there's something for everyone.
Adelaide will be bursting at the seams with events and attractions this weekend. Botanic Park will be alive with the sound of world music. The gates open on this year's WOMAD at 4 this afternoon. The festival runs through to Monday. Ziggy Marley is the headliner. On the other side of the Botanic Gardens, it's the penultimate weekend of the Fringe. Big crowds are expected at both the Garden of Unearthly Delights in Rundle Park and neighbouring Gluttony in the East Parklands, as well as the various other Fringe venues in the city and metro area. The festival is also underway, while all roads lead to Morfettville on Monday and the running of the Adelaide Cup worth $350,000. Rundle Mall is also open Monday from 11 a.m.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $1,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Outlander.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Jess. Australia's won the toss and are bowling first in the second test against New Zealand in Christchurch. The team remains the same from last week's win in Wellington. Aussie captain Pat Cummins says they're looking for more of an even contribution from this 11.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, great win. A couple of standout players. So hopefully a few more contributors this week. And they're a tough side. So hopefully much of the same though.
Audio there thanks to Fox Sports. It has just started. It's in the first over. The Black Caps are currently none for 4. Well, Melbourne coach Simon Goodwin insists a turbulent off-season for the club had nothing to do with last night's 22-point loss against Sydney. The clash was tight until the final quarter when the Swans registered 5 goals to the Demons 2. They were in slippery and humid conditions at the SCG. Goodwin says the Swans' undermanned midfield taught them a lesson.
I don't think it had anything to do with the emotion of the week or the way the club's been. We were ready, we were prepared, and we just got beaten by a good team.
Rafael Nadal has withdrawn from the Indian Wells Masters. He's still not over that hip injury picked up at the Australian Open. Fernando Alonso has set the pace in practice for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, 0.2 seconds ahead of George Russell. Oscar Piastri 10th quickest, while Daniel Ricciardo was second slowest. And West Ham has work to do after the opening leg of its Europa League tie against Freiburg after going down 1-0. The winner coming in the 81st minute.
Salah shooting chance and in! West Ham look for offside, but it's poked in by Mikhail Gregorich.
Audio thanks to Stan Sport. In other games, Liverpool smashed Sparta Prague 5-1, while Brighton was belted 4-0 by Roma. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery bonus prize deadline is midnight tonight. homelottery.com.au.
At Henley Beach, a small beagle on Military Road at Granger Road, causing delays for the drive-in. Really heavy at the moment, Port Rice Road at Beulah Park and Trinity Gardens. Also busy at the moment, South Road at Port Road at Hindmarsh there. And we've got works at Edwardstown, South Road near Ackland Street, speeds at 40. Cameras today, Baines Road, Woodcroft and Doothie Street at Unley. Pick up a rich, velvety, smooth barista coffee at Jack's Cafe with $2 medium coffees and $3 medium iced drinks available all day. On app only and pick up at Hungry Jack's. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Sunny and 36 today, jumping to a scorching 40 tomorrow and 38 for Sunday and Monday. Right now it's 24 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
I was just doing my job. I didn't think I'd get injured.
The doctor said it was a routine procedure? Right.
The car came out of nowhere and it smashed right into us.
At DBH Lawyers, we're here to listen to your story. Our team of local South Australian lawyers will help you navigate the law and find the best way forward. We're with you. We're for you. We're DBH Lawyers. dbh.com.au.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords
to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
Harvey Norman Furniture and Bedding floor stock clearance on now. Hurry in for big savings on selected floor stock fabric and leather lounges, dining room furniture, office desks and chairs, outdoor furniture, barbecues and more. Massive floor stock clearance on selected mattresses, bedroom furniture, kids furniture, pillows, quilt covers, cushions and more. All priced to clear. Race in for incredible deals on selected floor stock with quick delivery available. Now's the time to buy. Harvey Norman Furniture and Bedding floor stock clearance. Limited time only. Hurry.
Duttons have been easy to do business with for 75 years. That's why people love to buy from Duttons. With 10 vehicle brands across 3 locations in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge, you can compare everything from Ford, GWM, Haval, Hyundai, Isuzu Ute, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Ram, Subaru and Volkswagen. Set your GPS for Duttons Mount Barker or Murray Bridge to test drive a great range of new and used vehicles.
Duttons. Easy to do business with.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
20 minutes to 9, we're giving away a meat tray by 9 o'clock this morning. We've got a stack of tickets to give away for Gluttony, The Fringe and more. That's not too far away either. First, we're going to do Feedback Friday, but we're not getting started until we fill 2 more spots. We have 2 more spots available, so if you get calling right now...
Hop to it, folks.
8223 is the number. You can win yourself $100 worth of Samtas seafood, and now, frankly...
What more do you want? It's going to be...
that gets you to the weekend.
Summer long weekend.
Yeah.
You can be sitting out under your pergola, peeling prawns, mix some mayonnaise with some tomato sauce and a bit of Tabasco and a bit of lemon juice and a bit of pepper, and you've got your own excellent homemade Thousand Island dressing. Chop up some ice-cold iceberg lettuce, stick it in a martini glass, put the prawns in there, covered in the Thousand Island dressing, put on your safari suit, suddenly it's 1978.
Now you're talking.
Why did prawn cocktails ever go out of fashion? It is one of the ultimate summer entrees. It is the ultimate summer entree.
Why does food ever go out of fashion?
What is better than a prawn cocktail? I can't think of anything.
8223 I think we might have a full deck. I think your impassioned description of the prawn cocktail fired up the feedback machine.
Feedback Friday today, so have your say feedback.
Long weekend, Feedback Friday edition. Let's start in Nova Gardens. Trevor, good morning.
Good morning, boys. What a good reason to get out the safari suit.
Exactly right.
Have you got one in the cupboard, Trev?
Yes, shorts.
Oh,
Absolutely
beautiful.
right.
Well, the old Don Dunstan model.
Tight. Might be a bit tight these days.
They're meant to be tight.
Far be it for us to judge. Trevor, the AFL season started last night. Which team do you hope finishes bottom this year?
Power.
Okay. We figured it was going to be one of 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Trevor, Easter is in 3 weeks. Have you started eating hot cross buns yet?
Negative. I'll wait for another couple of weeks and then we'll get them out and toast them or whatever we need to do.
Beautiful.
So, no, I'll wait.
I don't think you want to toast anything over the next week.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
That's a good point. Just leave them outside.
Yeah, that's right.
Trevor, Virgin is allowing small pets on their planes. Would you be okay sitting next to a dog or a cat on a plane?
No, not at all. Not at all. What if they want to pull it out of the, it's getting a little claustrophobic and they want to pull it out and rest it on their lap and then it needs to go for a whizzer?
Yeah.
And,
no, thanks.
No good at all. No, I won't be flying on that plane.
100%.
Who do you like in the cup on Monday, Trevor?
Well, I haven't had a good look. I generally will go with one of the top 3 favourites.
Okay, no, that's a good.
I'm a big Phil Stokes fan, but I'm not sure if he's got one in.
Oh, you speak with some authority then, Trevor, because we threw that question in figuring that whilst we all like to celebrate Adelaide Cup Day, no one knows anything about the Adelaide Cup.
It was actually a trick question, but you answered it
Yeah,
perfectly.
Trevor,
mate.
you did well there, mate. Thank you. Let's go to Osborne. Bob, good morning.
Hi.
Bob, AFL season started last night. Sydney beat the Demons. Who do you think wins the flag this year?
Crows, I hope.
The Crows, you hope? Well,
Yep.
that'd be a story.
Dare to dream.
So do we. That would be excellent. There might be an SA icon, but do you think pie floaters are overrated?
Oh, I like them. Right, pie floaters. Where can you get them now?
That's a great
You
question.
can still get them in North Adelaide. You can get a great pie floater at Villies, just off Richmond Road there. They do a killer
Oh, yeah,
pie
I know where
floater.
that is,
Cafe
yeah.
de Villies.
Cafe de Villies. Get in there, Bob. Get one in here.
An Adelaide resident found rat remains in a can of beans. Have you ever found anything unexpected when opening a can of food, Bob?
Actually, no, I haven't. No, I'll be right.
Well, it's good, Bob.
Lucky you, Bob.
Lucky you.
No, that means the canning industries can breathe a sigh of relief. Bob, do you think you go see the Matildas at Adelaide Oval playing China on the 31st of May?
No.
All right, short and sweet. Thank you, Bob.
Fair enough.
Appreciate that.
Good on you, Bob.
Asked and answered.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
go to Summertown. Mark, good morning.
Howdy do, boys.
Mark, when it hits 40 degrees tomorrow, what's your stay cool plan?
Well, I live in Summertown, so probably welcome all the people to come up and visit me because it'll be 5, 6, 7 degrees less.
Yeah, it always is quite a bit cooler up there, isn't it?
In winter too, though. That's the downside. But
Yeah, well. Do you ever go to the Aristologist, Mark?
yes, but it's now shut.
Oh, you're joking?
So
yeah,
the boys gave it away. So it did inflate my property value. So I thank them for that.
Just recently.
Do you ever go up the road to your Radler and get the spicy lamb sausage roll?
The spicy lamb, that is very good.
Oh.
The price on them is probably a little bit north for some, but once you sink your choppers into it, you forgive them for the price.
It was gourmet cooking.
Mark, Adelaide Airport is calling for more international direct flights out of Adelaide. If you were in charge of the airport, what city would you choose to fly direct to?
Ooh, New Orleans.
Oh, mate.
Oh, my God. You're playing a win, aren't you, Mark? Come on.
I'm a jazz head, so I missed out in 2005 in dropping in there, and of course Hurricane Katrina flattened a fair bit of it, and I regret that. But I'd like to see what's left of it.
Have you ever been there, Mark?
No.
You've got to go.
Even just the cuisine.
Oh, yeah. You can't buy bad food there. Even the junk food's awesome.
I smell a rat here. So, Mark's lent into David's love of food and New Orleans whilst contesting for Feedback Friday. I am not sure about this.
No, he's sincere.
We're close on the same age.
Yeah. Okay, if you somehow work Sturt into this next answer, you're disqualified, all right, Mark?
I was about to. My lad plays for them.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I feel like you're ruling yourself out of winning, Mark.
Hey, Mark, Oppenheimer is expected to win everything at the Oscars on Monday. Have you seen Oppenheimer?
Yes, and I did not like it.
Yeah.
I found it tedious and just interview, and I just waited for it kind of to morph into something else. But I found it difficult.
Different pace to a usual Nolan film, that's for sure. Are you going to go to WOMAD this weekend? You're based on the fact that you're going to say everything David likes. I'm guessing it's yes.
No, I'm fearful of the bats dropping on me.
Well, they've got those bat bins that Stacey Lee was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's no good.
I'll listen to that.
There's going to be people in hazmat suits walking around like an outbreak, picking up dead bats.
It'll be like that.
Release the bats.
All right, Mark. Magnificent work. That was tremendous.
I think I should, what's the word? Recluse myself? Is that the word?
Recuse.
And you should judge.
Well, I think we should give it to Trevor.
Okay.
Trevor in Nova Gardens.
Fair enough.
You've got the $100 worth of Samtas seafood coming your way. Trevor, thank you for playing for Feedback Friday.
Thanks to Bob and to Mark
Don't
as well.
fear, if you did miss out on prizing, we have plenty more to give away by 9 o'clock, so stay listening.
We've got some gluttony tickets to give away, thanks to our good friends at Channel 9.
Exactly right. We'll do that in just a moment. First, traffic, thanks to Keezer. Are you tired of back pain? We'll try Keezer. KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. At Torrens Park, small collision on Springbank Road at Belair Road. Activity at McGill, slowing things up. Hennifold Road near Adelaide Street. And look out for works at Ottaway, Granger Junction Road near Rose Street. Quite busy at the moment. Paynham Road at Paynham with cameras George Street Parkside and Port Road at Hindmarsh. For the first time in Australia, the legendary AC Milan and AC Roma battle for glory in the heart of Perth. Don't miss out. Register now at ticketmaster.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Jarvis Toyota has moved to their brand new home in Brighton Road, Somerton Park. So now is the time to take advantage of opening savings across the entire Hilux range, including the Hilux GR Sport. Hilux, the unbreakable connection since 1968, will be stronger than ever with the first ever Hilux GR Sport, inspired with Dakar DNA, available now and boasting more power and torque. Jarvis Toyota, now at Brighton Road, Somerton Park, proudly celebrating 22 years of great deals.
You've decided to build? It's exciting stuff. When you've found land, it's a good idea to get advice on what you can build on your new parcel of paradise. Get Steve from Beechwood Homes to take a look. There's no obligation, and you'll get a great understanding of what's possible. Sloping block, flat block, weird-shaped block, or block on a cliff. Speak with Steve from Beechwood Homes for all the possibilities. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Sold by McGain again.
And because there's still limited stock, it's important to get along to these excellent open inspections.
Tomorrow from 2 till 2:30pm, Zoe Ball and Mike Dolben are opening 18 Corella Avenue, Chandler's Hill.
Corella.
This stunning two-storey family home with 3.2 metre high ceilings offers 5 bedrooms, 2 luxurious bathrooms, open-plan living areas with polished spotted gum timber floors, large modern kitchen and a beautiful all-weather entertaining area over a timber deck with stunning views out over Adelaide. It is truly magnificent. Best offers by March 25.
And by appointment, Zoe and Mike are opening 21 Lancaster Circuit, Old Noongar. This beautifully presented 2011 built 3-bedroom home is perfect for busy professionals or downsizers looking for a quality home. How good's Old Noongar, by the way? Just there, nestled on the banks of the mighty Onkaparinga. Features a big functional kitchen, open plan living and dining, formal lounge, ensuite, built-ins, ducted heating and cooling, and a great alfresco entertaining area with pergola. Best offers also by March 25.
Take a look at these properties and all the McGain listings at mcgain.com.au.
The 2024 Toyota AFL Premiership season is here. The battle lines are drawn. It's us versus them. Footy returns to the Adelaide Oval on Sunday, March 17, when Port Adelaide take on the West Coast Eagles. Then it's a Friday night blockbuster in round 2 as the Adelaide Crows host the Geelong Cats. The 2024 Toyota AFL Premiership season. Bring them on. Get your tickets at tickets.afl.
It's Ian Healy, and I'm here to talk to you about back pain and Keizer. If you're one of the 80% of Australians who suffer from back pain, it's tempting to do nothing. But this can cause weaknesses down the road. The best place to start with back pain is exercise, and the best place to exercise is Keizer. Keizer's physios and Swiss-designed strength training equipment help you build strength in a supervised environment. I go to Keizer, and you can too, at our new clinic in Norwood. Book your initial assessment at keizer.com.au.
On 5AA mornings today, Port Augusta earmarked potentially for a nuclear power plant as energy bills set to spike. We'll meet legendary songwriter, performer James Taylor on 5AA mornings today. And Adelaide remembers when the debutante balls were all the rage with Bob Byrne a bit later on in the morning. I'm Matthew Pantelis. There's some of the topics, your calls too. Look forward to your company from 9.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes to 9.
See, the headmaster of Cranbrook has just announced his resignation. That's the la-di-da Spooner School in Sydney that was the subject of the Four Corners investigation on Monday. He's fallen on his sword. Hey, call in now on 822 30055. If you saw the feature show on 9 News last night, you can win tickets for you and 3 friends, plus a $100 food and bevy voucher to Gluttony. You only need last night's correct feature show, all thanks to 5AA Nine News and Gluttony in Rymel Park, home of the biggest shows this fringe. Tickets from gluttony.net.au.
All right, let's check traffic. Let's check the fuel situation. Thanks to the great people at the RAA with their excellent app. You can refuel for less and stay ahead of the cycle with the app's new Fuel Trends feature. Some of the cheap spots we've spotted this morning: the Caltex OG Road Clemsig's at $1.77.5, the OTR South Road St Mary's $1.76.3, the Ampole Military Road Granger's at $1.79.9, and the cheapest diesel is the ex-convenience Main North Road Jeps Cross. It is sitting at $1.87.3.
Still getting a mountain of texts about... Well, actually, we're getting a whole stack of texts about prawn cocktails. Ray in Mount Gambier says prawn cocktails are the best, but if only we can get hotels and restaurants to not leave the tail on. There you go.
You'd be a pro-tail on guy, I reckon.
No, I like to have them... I'm with Ray.
Really?
Totally denuded of everything. There's no greater display of affection for your family and friends than peeling the prawns for them, I think.
Okay.
So there you go.
Julie's on the line.
Hey, Julie, how are you going there?
Yeah, very well, thanks.
Have you been to any fringe shows yet?
No, not yet.
Do you try to get along most years?
Yes, I've been other years. I've been to some good shows, but no, I haven't been this year so far.
Well, hopefully, if you've got the right answer, you'll be heading along whenever you like. Do you know what it is?
Matt Tarrant?
Yes, it certainly is. Good on you, Julie. Congratulations. You have won tickets to Matt Tarrant in the Flamingo at Gluttony in Rymel Park. You can get tickets from gluttony.net.au or tune into 9 News tonight for the next feature show.
Tell you what, because it is the long weekend and because we've been ruffling around in the prize box, let's also give away double pass to see the Jungle Book. If you want to get along to see the Jungle Book, call right now on 8223 0055. No code word, nothing required of you, simply beyond being the first caller through. Adelaide Festival's must-see Jungle Book reimagined 15th to 16th of March at the Festival Theatre. Buy tickets online now. And later this afternoon, this is fun, Fruity Friday, of course, with Stacey Lee, which is always a feature. But Stacey is broadcasting from Vale Brewing, the restaurant and bar in McLaren Vale.
Oh, yeah.
I love this place.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
We go there, we've gone there semi-regularly since discovering it for my wife's, I think, 40th birthday. We went and stayed at Beresford just across the way, and then basically we were able to almost walk there. The food is superb.
Almost walk? Well, it was a big day, was it? You didn't go full Barnaby, I hope?
No, not at all. Not at all. Never go the full Barnaby. I've always said that. Vale Brewing is a female-led venue, and Stacey's excited to showcase some of their locally sourced menu items. And the team at Powell's will be accompanying the food and wine with some ideas for a gin cocktail as well. Foodie Friday, all thanks to the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors and Powell's.
The full Barnaby.
Never go the full Barnaby.
That's right.
Michael in Seaford, by the way, in the meantime, won those tickets to see Jungle Book reimagined.
Thanks to everybody who entered Meat Tray Friday, courtesy of our great friends at Mr. Meats there on the top of Granger Road, not far from South Road. Sally told a beautiful story about the woman who has most inspired her, who she regards as a female hero, and it is her own daughter Caitlin, who's now, from memory, 19 years old, has battled on through a whole raft of medical challenges, about to complete year 12. So, Sally, you and your lovely daughter can have a nice barbecue together.
And what
weekend.
A nice way she wants to spend her life too, going back to the Women's and Children's.
Yeah.
And helping young kids who've been through similar things to what she's been through.
The sheer cruelty of kids being that sick is just one of life's great.
Absolutely.
You don't want to think about it, do you? It's just bloody horrible. So, good on you, Sally. And to everybody else, try to stay cool, which is easier said than done. No rain whatsoever on the horizon until possibly next Wednesday.
And we're stretching the definition of possible. It's an 80% chance of no rain on the Thursday.
Well, that's right.
But we're calling that a good chance, given everything in between's about 0%. Right now, outside in the city, it's 24.9 degrees, heading for that top today of 36.
I've talked myself into it. I'm going to go to Sam Test later and get some prawns.
You do that?
Auto-suggestion, they call that.
Don't leave them outside. At any point in the next 4 days.
No. Well, you can get those good little portable freezer bags there for next to
Exactly
nothing.
right. Stick around for Matt Pantelis. Have a terrific long weekend, and we'll be back Tuesday morning from 6.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. Grab 3